BlasterGas. BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.
BlasterGas. BlasterGas. BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.
Cheers. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too, man. We made
It's been
it.
ages.
Cheers. I've actually got
You're
a glass
making me
of
work hard for this
I've got
social.
I've got a glass of pink lemonade here. It's my favorite juice at the moment.
Nice.
So yeah, have you been up to
Yeah.
anything kind of noteworthy recently?
Exciting. Watching Life of Chuck.
And you liked it?
I did, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Good,
What I mean,
good.
what I really loved is, yeah, been just thinking about it as well, and like having a reason to analyze it. It's like having a book club or something
Yeah, that's good.
where you
That's
get
good.
to think about. Yeah, and I've changed my mind about it a lot since well, I've watched it twice.
Well, see, when we talked about doing this last week, when we got the microphone and everything, I was like, right, I was planning to watch it again myself because we watched it around the time I first mentioned it to you, maybe about a month ago or something, was it?
Yeah, it was a while ago. Yeah.
So I meant to watch it again before we went up. So you'll have to remind me of certain details probably, but it had a pretty big impression on me, so you won't have to remind me too much. And also, it's not the sort of film with like hundreds of different scenes and characters, so I think it'll be fine. So, but you might have to remind me just of like maybe the sequence of events, things like that,
I'm
some
sure I will.
details.
My memory's terrible. Like you watch loads of films, don't you? You kind of having listened to some other of your talking to Pete and stuff and talking to Jane and yeah, I just don't have that sort of memory where I can recall stuff from different movies. I
Well, I
don't
mean,
know if that's because I don't watch so many. Like people who read books tend to read remember more about the books, don't they? And so I suppose it's like once you and you have to use it as well or lose it. Like if you watch a film and then you never talk about it or think about it again, you're not gonna remember it.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I do actually remember stuff from movies, and it depends on the movie, but they do leave lasting impression on me. Like I can watch something
Yeah.
once on my own, never speak about it, and I still remember, and it still has a sort of imprint in my memory. If it's that kind of movie. So yeah, I don't know, but I do probably watch more movies than you, and I do tend to watch movies like again and again. If I really like it, I'll watch it loads of times. You know, like you would,
Yeah.
you don't like almost like I would like an album or something. You know, not quite as often, but
Yeah. Yeah, that's fun. I think well, especially when it's something that you get something new from it every time you watch it. Just like we've got a park out the back. We love going for a walk around there. You know, every time's slightly different. It's still good to go for a walk there.
yeah, exactly. No, and I love that. And it's always nice when you notice something that you didn't notice before.
Yeah.
Uh, everything's got more depth. You can only perceive so much in one sitting, you know, depending on what you're doing. But
Yeah,
it's a pity we
totally. I
can't.
got a
It's
friend to watch it as well, because I just watched it and I said, yeah, I really enjoyed it. And he watched it, and then we talked about it. He watched it with his daughter, so it was really interesting to hear what he said about it as well,
okay, cool.
which
So,
was quite different. And I had my first explanation for it then, which has actually changed a bit now.
okay, so where should we start? I mean, did you have any sort of preconceived ideas of what it
Well,
might be like about or what it might be like before you
so
started
because it
watching
was
it?
Stephen King. Well,
Yes,
the
that's
first time I
right.
watched it, it was I was fair. I hadn't looked up anything about it. I just kind of watched it. I managed to find somewhere to watch it and stuff. But obviously, Stephen King brings a lot of baggage. I guess like Carrie was the first thing I
Have you ever read any of
and
his
mostly
books?
horror. I don't think I have, which is
Neither have
terrible.
I. Neither
Yeah,
have I. And I've
no,
seen a few films of his based on his books, I should say. He must be quite what's the word, prolific because
absolutely. You must churn them out. Yeah,
but he
I
must have
watched.
quite a creative mind as well because if you've seen some of his movies, they're not like all in the same sort of universe or all necessarily in the same. genre
I
sometimes,
literally just watched an interview with him in the 90s, and like one of the things he said was what I've got to try and avoid is to not write like Stephen King. So he doesn't he like tries to be different all the time and not
tries not
be
to create a style for himself, sort of thing.
almost, yeah.
Well, I think the only thing I could say is the sort of thread through these movies is, I guess, like you say, like some sort of horror, but it's not horror, or not always anyway, horror in the kind of classic sense of sometimes they're just kind of almost like sort of Roald Dahl's, what do you call it, Tales of
Yeah,
Unexpected.
Tales
Sometimes
of
it's
the
more that's
Unexpected.
you wouldn't necessarily say that
Yeah,
was
no,
horror, but
yeah.
kind of sometimes a little bit surreal or with weird twists to it.
In this interview, he said he wasn't a horror writer. He said he was a thriller writer with some
Interesting.
horror, which is, yeah.
There is quite often a surreal element
That
to them, isn't there? There's something not,
yeah, there's some magical twist, isn't there? Quite, yeah,
yeah. What was happening in Carrie?
which
She
is
did
fun.
she had kind of like what's it
Bit kinetic, yeah,
kinetic powers and stuff.
yeah. And got
And
her
there
own
was
back on all the
what
nasty
else?
bullies.
Yeah, that was rough though. I mean, that was really kind of rough.
Yeah,
Funnily enough, the actual sort of horror kind of what you call like magical paranormal bits of it weren't the worst bit. The most memorable bit is just the kind of horror of like the horror of her humiliation was like the worst part of the horror, which is interesting.
yeah. Well, and well, that's what everyone can relate to as well, isn't it? Because that's real. That's not magical.
Yeah.
Magical bit is where she, yeah,
And
makes
there's maybe an
everything
element of
happen.
that in this as well. If you were to say what's the horror element of this, you could say it's the reality of that element that is what's the horror element.
Yeah, and it does. Like the room is definitely scary, isn't it? So when the granddad tells him not to go in the room, and he tries to go
Yeah.
in the room, and then he comes up, that's almost has this kind of Doctor Who horror to it.
Yeah, and there's that tension of what's in the
But
room and all this sort of stuff. But the actual reality of what's in the room is almost it's not necessarily. I mean, depends how you interpret it. But let's not jump there. Let's not jump there.
it's that's a
So
big
did you
jump.
have
Yeah,
did you have
we've
any
well,
that's yeah, did you
is that
have
the
any
first? That's Act One though,
what's that?
even though it's last. Yeah, is that that's Act One?
Yeah, it's one of
So
those
we're starting. Yeah,
yeah. So
but
all you
Act
really knew
Three
about it
is
was sorry, all you really knew about it was this it was Stephen King based on a Stephen King short story, I think it was, it said.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, that's all I knew about it before I watched it.
I don't think I even knew
So I
that.
wasn't expecting it at all. I wasn't expecting the dancing at all, which I loved the dancing because I love dancing. And I've
Yeah.
been dancing a lot later in my life and wishing I had danced more when I was younger.
I
And
think you danced a fair
which is
bit
kind of the
if I
reverse of
remember
this guy.
if I remember correctly, you danced a fair amount.
Well,
More than most, quite possibly. So,
we did a lot, and that's because I loved it. No, I've always loved dancing, and I've rediscovered it as I got older, but without the necessarily the social necessity of it or something. I don't know. I never had thought of it as a sport or as a kind of recreational thing, like other than just having fun, like Fred Astaire and Ginger Rogers, which is yeah,
I just always associated dancing with parties because that's what, at my gran and grandpa's in the West Coast, when we had family gatherings, there would tend to be alcohol involved and there would be music because Auntie Maggie was really into music. And my grandpa always had like a nice music player. My gran had a bunch of, both of them were quite into music as well, but limited selection, but they were quite into music. So anyway, it was always parties. Music would come on and the family would be dancing around and stuff. So
great fun. Yeah.
yeah, so for me, music was began my parties, and then it was also when my mum, my mum being a single mum, when she was happiest was always when she was getting ready to go out partying with Auntie Maggie because they'd both moved from the West Coast to Edinburgh to be students. So they were like sort of best pals over in Edinburgh while my mum was, but she was a single mum. She'd be getting a babysitter in
But
and getting ready to go out, and she'd have a glass of wine and the makeup sitting on the kitchen table, the makeup, putting the makeup on, and she'd have be playing Auntie Maggie's tapes. my Auntie Maggie had great taste in music, and
What sort
she
of genre back then? Was that
she used
that was the 80s, was it?
she used to make my mum tapes, so it would be all sorts, but it was all really good stuff from the 80s. It was like David Bowie, Talking Heads, Grace Jones, Bob Marley. What was the one
It's
that my
funny
Auntie
how
Maggie?
eclectic it was back then, wasn't it? It was much more, you'd listen to a lot more genres, I
Yeah.
think, than you tend to now.
Yeah, you know, everything seemed better then in some ways, but yeah, but it was the 20th century was, I've heard people say that there'll never be as an important century for music as that century. Because if you think about where music was in 1901, or like popular, focusing on popular Western music, 1901 to 1999, the development it went through, the number of phases it went through, the amount of amazing artists that came, you know, I mean, it's incredible, you know. To start with, I don't know, kind of folky music and stuff, and then to end with, you know, everything from techno to reggae to jazz to blues to rock to all the variations in between and stuff in 100
Yeah.
years.
Don't know yes, I agree. I think some classical buffs might say yes, but they're all, all the pop tunes are all just the same song done
Quite
slightly differently
possibly.
or something, you know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose, yeah, they
And
are.
so,
I mean, like I said, that's why I said Western music because they follow, like most songs will follow a
yeah, because
formula.
you don't have to use our scale, do you? Even or whatever. It's like
Exactly.
there's a
And
whole
most songs will do this whole verse, chorus sort of formula and all that sort
yeah,
of
yeah.
business. But even in that, I mean, what about techno then though? I mean, techno doesn't follow any of that.
Doesn't
And
it? Definitely has.
jazz doesn't follow any of that. So it's not because there were such in the 20th century was
Mm.
when there was a real mix of all sorts of music. You know, you got in classical and pop music, you were getting African tribal in electronic music. I mean, it was all coming together.
Yeah, a
Look,
melting pot of different
yeah,
cultures, yeah. And I reckon the music is a reflection of the culture that it is in, isn't it? And that the globalization of our culture has made it like the biggest melting pot ever, yeah.
yeah,
And especially music has really, so we listen to music from strange tribes that have hardly communicated with the world, and then classical that's been coming up through, you know, Roman stuff and things like that. I don't know.
and listening to it all through a phone
Yeah.
in like perfect digital audio and Bluetooth Bluetooth headphone. I mean, it's anyway. Okay.
Incredible.
I
Yeah.
think we're the generation
It's,
that's most impressed by technology because we've seen probably the biggest leap in our lifetimes. Because
it
the
must have been a
generation,
pretty big leap, the one before us as well, to go from horses to cars. That was a pretty
yeah,
big leap.
that's true. That's true.
Like going
Yeah.
from having shit on like people who literally had to clean the shit up from the road or not
Yeah, that's
to just, complaining about a bit of soot.
but in a lifetime though, I'm talking about in a
Yeah,
lifetime.
so the people that our great grandparents would have seen probably had horses and then go to cars, wouldn't they?
So what would that be like? So
But yeah.
early 19th century, you mean? Early 20th century.
Yeah, yeah, early 1900s would have there still been.
So the horses
Who
kicking
was it the
about.
other day who was
Is
telling me
that of
about
course?
their
I
outside
suppose there must
toilet?
do. Yeah, because cars were like
Uh,
people didn't have cars that they weren't that common
No,
until
not really till the 60s did they started
really that
getting
late.
really like everyone had one.
Right, jeez, it's crazy.
Well, it was the Ford Motor Company, wasn't it, who started paying his workers enough to buy his own cars.
Right.
And but I think that was in the 20s or 30s. But I'm not sure that came over here till I think I'd still be a fairly well off manager or something.
So would they have had horses going about with the cars sort of on the same roads, or what was the deal with that? Or would people just take trams and stuff more?
Yeah,
Or
for a bit. Yeah,
crazy. Well, for the digital side of
yeah,
things, we've probably seen the most
different world.
because we were probably well, no, but maybe our parents would be the have seen the most digital wise because they've gone from like watching a tiny wee black and white TV and analog sort of phones, and then to flat screen TVs and computers and mobile phones, smartphones and stuff. So that's quite a leap in their lifetime. And we got a bit of that
Yeah,
because, like, I
because
don't remember a lot of digital stuff when I was wee. Listened to music on
no, I
cassettes.
mean, yeah,
The
no,
TV was
just
a
ping.
big
Did you
bulb.
remember the ping pong? What was it called? The
Pong. I remember I never had it. I remember seeing the adverts
pong,
on
yeah.
TV for it. See, but not ever. Did you have one of them?
Do I have one now?
Did you have no? Did when
No,
you
well,
were
no.
wee? Did you have one of those
My
console things?
first time I played Pong, no, but my rich auntie, she wasn't a proper auntie, she was my like mother's auntie or something, or
Right.
so it might have been a great
Or a
auntie,
cousin, your
Auntie
mother's
Sina
cousin, maybe, or
had
something?
one.
Right, okay.
We got to play it, but it was the same guy who took me up in a plane in a glider. We obviously had a bit of money, and they had a little TV computer console.
Yeah, not many people had them in those days. And even like I remember when
Have
the
you
first
been to
Nintendo came out.
Bletchley Park? You should come down with kids and see the Bletchley Park Computer Museum because that's fascinating. That's really good
Yeah, that would be cool.
because they've got yeah, but they've got all stuff that we recognize as well, like Atari and Spectrums, and it's an impressive collection.
Oh, that sounds cool.
And
Yeah,
it's
that'd be
great fun when you
amazing.
like play on stuff. Yeah,
Last week, I literally just watched a documentary, like a four-part documentary about the evolution of gaming.
sounds good.
Yeah, it started basically with Pong. Then it
What
got
is
to
the
the bit
latest one?
like well, I think I was one of those ones where you're trying to watch all of them in one night, but then it was just so late, so I don't think I finished the last episode. So but I got as far as like when they were talking about like the first time there was like controversy and or controversy. Is it controversy or controversy? In games because they were with like do you remember Mortal Kombat where they pulled the heads out and the spine was hanging? Do you don't remember Mortal Kombat? It was for the
I
Sega.
don't remember the spines hanging, but yeah, I do remember Mortal Kombat.
Well, it's called
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat and it was
I played it quite recently actually.
did you?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's Mortal Kombat 6 or something. I don't know what it is now, but
Where was
it's
that?
one of those ones where you just have to bash everything. It was with Kalen in Edinburgh.
Right, right.
And it's one where you learn all the different things, isn't it? So you
Yeah,
get
the
like if you do,
combos.
and it's like seven things you have to do in a row, and you get them to do a special flip-de-be-doobity, whatever, like ball
Yeah.
power.
Well, this was part of the documentary was about how this was the beginning of controversial bits in games. And the thing about Mortal Kombat is the graphics they used in this first version were actual sort of they videoed the actual actors, so that it was really realistic looking people.
Getting
But
their
then they
heads
did,
pulled
but
off.
they,
It was
but
like
it
a
was the sort of the graphic of the character was kind of like photographic looking because it was actually taken from videoing people, and then they converted it into pixels. But then obviously they added the effects of like killing them, loads of blood and like pulling limbs off and heads off and chopping them in half and all sort of stuff, and pulling their hearts out and things like this. And that was like the first. That was the first.
that was the first
Uh,
gore fest like
yeah.
computer game. Yeah,
And then the stuff, and then it became like a thing. Like the more controversial, the better, you know. And so you get like what was it, Grand
okay.
Theft Auto, you know, where you go
Because
about and
I
you
guess
just
I suppose you'd have had like monsters getting blown up and stuff, but it was different when it was human looking characters that were it was happening to probably.
yeah. And the thing was like
Yeah.
up until then,
It's
it'd
all
been
right
a
if you kill space invaders, but
up until then, Nintendo was the main one, and Nintendo always did kind of like family-friendly games, you
yeah,
know. And then Sega came out, and they realized the way to compete was to try and get adults playing and take
okay.
go for that market. But then, of course, kids wanted to play that, even though it was made more for
Yeah,
adults. Of course, kids see
yeah.
this game and they're like, "I want to play it." And then the controversy is like,
So
you know,
you
you
have to
make
start having ratings on your games and stuff.
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So anyway, let's get back to Life of Chuck.
Life of Chuck.
Oh, I knew.
So
I forgot. I did actually know it was about based on a short story by Stephen King because I'd seen it before, but I didn't look that interesting. It was just that actor guy's face, and it didn't nothing interesting about it looking for me. And then I was watching a YouTube channel that I watch. They talk about movies, and they were talking about their favorite movies of 2025, and all three of them had to sort of say a top five and talk about it. But all three of them mentioned, at least two of them anyway, mentioned the life of Chuck. And I remember the guy had read the book first, and he said it's one of those rare occasions where apparently the the movie is pretty faithful to the book. Like
Yeah,
apparently they haven't really changed anything at all. And they all said it was good, and I was like, okay. And it was like a Sunday night. I always kind of fancy a drama on a Sunday night, like a kind of slower paced, get into the characters, just sort of, you don't want to watch like well, I was going to say don't watch Star Wars on Sunday night, but I could watch Star Wars any night. That's not a good example. But you don't want to you don't feel like necessarily watch a big noisy action movie on a
epic.
Sunday
No,
night, you know
bit
what I mean?
too flashbang.
So it was like Sunday night, and I just a couple of days before I'd seen them talking about this, so I was like, Jane, let's check this out. So we watched it, and neither of us really knew anything about it. So it was a nice surprise, really.
Yeah, no, it's got a funny feel to it, hasn't it? It feels a bit like, I don't know, E.T. or something. It's just got that very American kind of nice, sort of safe kind of feel to it. I don't know.
Well, it's got that suburban thing going on, hasn't it?
Yeah, yeah,
And which has got a sort of gloss to it.
yeah. It's a side of America we don't think much about. It's certainly not, or I was surprised when I went to America to see how suburban it is. You know,
And what,
we'd think about it like cop movies and
yeah,
chips and just very urban, whereas actually most of it is suburban, just like everywhere, I guess.
and everything's kind of spaced
And
out, so you drive anywhere, everywhere, because you're going from one suburban area into the city, or from one suburban area to another suburban area. So you
but
don't
in
really.
even the house, like the Victorian house they're in, which is kind of like is, one of the kind of myths about America is they haven't got any old buildings.
Right.
And
So,
actually, that their house is older than the house I live in, and probably most of the houses in Britain.
do you know, I did wonder that actually because I was thinking that when were these suburban areas built and why had they got this old house? Maybe the book wasn't set in America and that's why but they wanted to have it in America,
No,
so they just kept the story and ignored the fact that it had to be an
no,
old
I
house.
think it's a very American story because yeah, I think there's a bit of it that's about following your dreams, which is a very kind of Hollywood
Yeah, and also
thing.
that kind of individualist thing, like, be different, do something different, or have a sort of
Well, he's got a
identity.
whole world living in his head. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
so it's all
fairly
about
individual, isn't it?
it's like creating your identity or but is that just total American? I don't know. I guess probably is. I mean, yeah, other parts of the world, yeah, probably
Hollywood's
not so
had such
much.
a big influence on all our cultures that
Yeah, it's hard to say
it's certainly widespread now, and individualism.
exactly. Did you think they were sort of, what you're saying about what did you say, like making the most of your life or something like that? What did you say?
Yeah, yeah, following
Or
your
follow your dreams,
dreams
that's it, following your dreams. Did you
and
think
believe
then,
like the power of positive thinking and kind of, follow your dreams.
so did you think that the main character hadn't followed his dreams and that was like the message was to follow your dreams? Or do you think that he had followed his dreams and so the message was everything was fine because of that? Like where are you coming from with
But
that?
everything fine?
I don't know, I'm just saying
Well,
what was
yeah,
your
so
interpretation of it?
a fairly odd place. So the first time I watched it, I thought it was about different universes and about sort of a multiverse where everyone has their own universe in some sense. There's so many universes that the one you find yourself in is just one of them,
Yeah,
and another one might suddenly disappear because of something else.
but then how are they connected?
Uh,
Like
uh, uh,
how's universe if that's the case, then how is your universe connected to mine? Because you can kind of prove there's a connection, right? It's not like you're just
well,
imagining me talking and I'm just imagining you talking and we just have to be imagining the same thing.
it's very like the only person I can be sure of being conscious is myself. Like I'm pretty sure you're conscious as well, but you might like, we the universe, the world we live in is made up in our heads, and so my universe, my reality isn't the same as yours, really.
Yeah, are you talking like based on your perception and stuff?
Yeah, yeah,
So you build that reality based on your experience and based on your way your brain works and everything.
yeah.
But we know that like there's a lot of things that we all or most of us perceive the same way. So it's almost like that shared perception is what the closest we can assume to be the same thing. So, you know, we're not just creating it ourselves.
Uh,
I know you can imagine, your brain can imagine whole scenarios in your head as if you're living them. This is gonna get complicated.
it's a very,
Especially for
very
me.
definitely
It's
it
okay for you
could.
as a physicist, but for me, I'm gonna get hit a few brick walls.
Yeah, I only just got my degree.
Well, I'm a long way off mine, like that's for sure. But
Yeah,
yeah, so that was your
now,
first perception of it was like maybe this is just his version, his universe that he'd created
yeah,
in this way as his own little multiverse or part of a multiverse, like his
yes.
version of it,
So I thought it was some sort of quantum kind of multiverse thing. That's how I rationalized it to start with.
right? And this is
Um,
and then on the set, it wasn't until the second viewing you changed your mind, or was it upon sort of thinking about it
no, well, it
again
was the
that
second
you?
viewing, but it was also talking to my friend who'd watched it with his daughter, and and they hadn't seen that at all. And when I started explaining it, then it didn't quite seem correct. And well, watching it again, the big one,
You're
I
just
mean,
jumping to that quantum physics sort of. Maybe your brain
it,
just went to that. That was your
it,
reality.
so I went to a brilliant, but I mean, it's not a new idea. It's like there's lots of like if you believe in the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics, then multiple universes do exist, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And there was a great there's a theatre company called Darkfield who do these crazy they do loads of binaural stuff with like so it's a lot of soundscapes and things. The one I went to that was particularly relevant to this, it's in a shipping container. So you're all queuing up to go into the shipping container and you go in and it looked like a plane, an inside of a plane. So it had the rows of seats. So you
Right.
sat down in these rows of seats and you put
Uh-huh.
headphones on
Right.
and then it went pitch dark.
Wow.
And it was basically they reenacted a plane crash. So
Ooh.
you had like the noise and people running past you with these
Oh my
like
God.
stereo ears, and you didn't know whether it was real people or the people next to you. I mean, and there probably were some real people screaming because it was
Oh,
quite scary.
that sounds intense. I wouldn't enjoy that, I
It
don't
it
think.
it, it was
I suppose you're not
incredible.
supposed to enjoy it, but wow.
But then, well, yeah. But the deep and meaningful thing about it was at the end was it's like kind of voice came on and said, "Oh, you've survived. Well done. You're the survivor." But in a many worlds universe, you will always be if you're conscious of it, you are the survivor. So it's, I maybe didn't say that very well, but it's like there's a small but non-zero probability that in one of the universes, in any particular situation, you will survive. And that will be, and you'll only be aware of the one that you've survived. So you might have died in that plane crash, but the version of you that died won't be aware of it. You'll only be aware of the version that survived.
Okay, I think I understand.
Yeah.
So
Um,
when you spoke to your friend about their idea of it, was it before the second viewing or after?
It was before the second viewing, and that was one of the reasons why I watched it again because he
So
was
then
talking
that
about
tainted your the way of looking at it again,
yeah, a bit. So I was particularly looking out for characters that were in all of the three acts. Did you
right?
notice any of the ones that like came back?
We see this is where we might be better starting from you just sort of, you know, not talking me through every little bit of the movie, but if you could, if you could talk through the movie from like roughly the start, and we can talk, there's like three sections, right? Like you just said.
There's three acts. Yeah, it
Uh-huh.
starts in Act
So maybe
Three.
maybe we could talk about each act in sequence sort of things. So let's start by talking about Act One.
Three. Oh, the first act is
Well,
Act
the first
Three.
act, right? Okay.
Or
So the first, let's say the first part of the movie, just to avoid confusion. So if we start by talking the
yeah,
first part, the second part, and third part of the
which
movie,
is Act Three.
let's
Yeah.
talk about it like that. But just because I need reminding of some bits as well. I realize as we're talking.
No, no, me too. Yeah,
So the
no.
first part is the
But
part where there's it starts. It's like
starts with the
everything. What's
everything's going
earthquake?
weird. I meit feels a bit like now, it feels like
There's a natural
this war.
disaster coming, is there not?
Yeah, like a bit of California has slipped into the sea. So, and I think they're talking like the whole of uh, everything north of San Francisco has basically just collapsed into the sea. So millions of people have died, and
And then it comes on the
I
two
don't
other.
think they don't specifically say how horrific it is, but they're basically suggesting that huge chunks of land have just fallen into the sea. And
Yeah,
there's loads, and they've got pictures of Britain with is it flooding or there's
the world's falling
it,
apart in
the
one way or another.
world's falling apart a bit like it is now,
Yeah,
or
and so
that's so
you're
you
at
feel
that point
like
you
it.
it's a total different. You feel like you're expecting a total different movie at that point.
Yes, yeah, at that point you're thinking, well, I was thinking that yeah, that this is kind of, well, it's in 10 years time or something. It's not that far off, but it's like suddenly there's been some tipping point or many tipping points have been reached, and
Exactly.
the world is coming to an end, and it's like not just yeah, and strange things are happening that people can't explain and stuff, which is guess you'd expect that if, enough systems start collapsing, things probably would get pretty weird.
And it's centered around this couple, right? It's like they're divorced or
A
something.
separated, a divorced couple, this guy's a teacher, so and him being a teacher is important. And you've seen that, you see that
Right.
his character again in Act One at the end
Hmm.
of the movie,
Yes.
and his wife, who I don't think you see again, but she's a doctor. And one of the things that's happening is that there's a huge increase in suicides. So everyone's basically just killing themselves.
Yep.
And so they've got this hospital ward where there's a few of them, including his ex-wife.
Yep.
I am not sure they're actually divorced, but
And then they call
that are
each other
basically,
because they're so kind of like stressed out and stuff.
yeah,
No.
she calls him, well, just because, yeah, they're looking for stability in the world, aren't they? They haven't,
Yep.
yeah. So
Exactly.
they, and they still love each other. Who knows why they've split up. But
Yeah. Is there not
um,
any hint to that as to why they split up? I don't think so.
But the big thing as well is that he's in the house
Exactly, with the room.
with the room.
And he looks at the door or something. Do you know, or is he just, does he
Eh,
look at the door or do you just see it in the background? No, he looks up at it, doesn't he?
I think he does look up to it. Yeah, I don't think he goes in it.
Is that
Has
maybe
he
when
been in
that
it? Yeah.
act ends, in fact? Is that maybe when that part of the movie ends? If I'm looking up at the door? Maybe that's.
No, the first part ends with the end of the world, with them sitting out on her porch
Of
and the
course.
stars
You see, this is
disappearing.
why should have really watched it again, but yeah,
Because that's
it's
quite
good.
scary when they're looking up at the stars and they just start disappearing.
Yeah,
And
that's right.
that's kind of when something really strange is happening when the funny picture of
Chuck.
Chuck is in everyone's windows.
Yeah, yeah.
Krantz, is it? Is his name Krantz? Chuck Krantz?
Oh, I don't remember. That's right. So then, yeah, so you're kind of still, you're pretty
Krantz, yeah,
confused.
Charles Krantz.
So, I mean, did you have any idea where it was going to go after that? Because you knew it was just the first third of the movie.
Yeah, no, I didn't know. That was an odd place to end up at a third of the way into a movie.
Totally.
But I guess you knew you were going back in time because you'd started at Act Three, so and
Yeah,
then it says Act Two, so I suppose yeah,
yeah,
okay, this is how you get to that stage.
exactly. So you're expecting like a
But
flashback or some kind of like, how did we get here part of the story,
yeah.
but that you don't.
Well, no,
In the second part?
so I mean I definitely think Act Three is a different universe. However you want to see it, it's
Okay, okay,
not.
we'll get to that. Wait a minute, don't jump ahead. We're just talking through what happened in the movie. Just to remind me, please, first, and then we'll get to all our
Sorry.
theories
Yeah,
and stuff.
okay.
Because otherwise, it's just we're never going to get to the end of it. I really need to kind of just remember bits of the movie. So it started the first
Do you
part.
remember the roller skater in Act Three? The girl that he speaks to, like that he has to walk
Yes,
all the way
yes,
from his house to
roller skater.
his ex-wife's
Oh
house.
no, I didn't remember the roller skater. But now you mentioned what's that again?
There's a young girl on roller skates,
Oh, okay, no, that was
and she's
in
just
the first part.
that's in the first part, and it's just
Yeah,
before they see. In fact, that's when he sees Chuck in the windows. That he suddenly becomes in all the windows in this like sort of
that's
blue
right. No, sorry, I thought you were talking
light.
about the drummer when you said that was the character that popped into my head when you said roller skater. But no, it's the drummer I'm thinking of. For he
Yeah,
ends
no,
up like they ends up
that's the
going back
second one.
the drum they're talking to the drummer and the dancer and the guy with the van afterwards. That's what I was thinking of. Yeah, so why were you mentioning the roller skater? The kid in roller skates?
Just because she turns up again in
In the
Act
second
Two.
part?
Yeah,
What did she just skate past or something during the
yeah,
Oh, I didn't
yeah,
notice that. That's
yeah.
interesting.
And there's a few there's quite a few other ones that I think I've missed. It was my friend Nick that pointed out that some others were in all of them, or at
Right.
least in two of them, and there was discrepancies as well. Like some of them being like the teacher at the end is in the first one, as is the Undertaker, but they're different ages. They seem to be, so I'm not quite.
Okay.
You almost need to get stills of that or something. But
So that's just to recap, sorry.
yeah, sorry.
Part one is kind of the end of the world
The beginning of the
and
film is Act Three. It is a story about
the end of the world and a couple that's separated who are
yeah,
like chatting
and the
and
world's
eventually get
going to shit.
together
Yeah.
because, and that's it. And then suddenly we've got in that part, did we have the narrator at any point? Do you remember?
No, no.
Right.
I don't think so. No.
No, I don't think we did. And then the second
No, I
part,
don't. I
so
think the second part
you
you
get the
get the
narrator
narrator.
because it's talking about Chuck and who Chuck is, and
Yeah.
but very much sort of superficial level. It's not really going into like details about Chuck. It's just like Chuck is this, Chuck likes this. It's very kind of
Well, in part two, I mean, he tells you about the his brain tumor and says so that part two is
that's
only
true. That's
like
true. But it's still just like
9 days or something. They say that before he dies or something.
that's true. That's
So
true.
the part two is actually very close to the end of part one, which is
Well,
at the end of the film.
yeah, but I wasn't thinking about that at the time when I was watching it. I was just thinking,
No.
okay, suddenly we're jumping to this other character in a total different time and possibly a different place as well. And
Yeah, I
then,
mean, did you even recognize him as Chuck? I'm not sure I did the first time.
no, I did because I
You
knew I've
did,
seen,
yeah.
well, yeah, when I saw the pictures of
Can't.
the movie, I recognized that Tom Hiddleston. So I was kind of waiting for like, with him supposedly the star of the movie, I was all of part one. I was waiting for him to kind of appear. So when he appeared, on the in everyone's windows. I was like, okay, now he's going to come into it. And sure enough, he came into it, but it was like like a different movie. I was like, okay, but I quite liked it. Kind of like it was nice to go from well, apart from the thing about you know having a brain tumor. there was kind of like an upbeat vibe to it. You know, it was a sunny day. He's walking in the street. He's looking pretty happy, or he's looking content enough. Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I just remember it kind of being brighter, and to go from like the end of the world
To
and
yeah,
watching the
this
stars
man having a
disappear, and this guy's just walking down the street in a sunny day in a smart suit and a briefcase, and he says he's got a brain tumor, but also, I think he said also says he's unaware at that point.
yeah, no, he doesn't know he's got
So it's
one. He
kind
just
of
has a headache. Yeah,
so even though he said that, it's a kind of happy vibe.
it's
But you are
absolutely happy vibe.
But
Yeah,
you are kind of because of that, because the narrator saying that there is a kind of, oh, what's going to happen here sort of thing, because you prepare yourself. Okay, well that's quite a jolt to. So, but yeah, it's a happy vibe, and then it's about the drummers setting up, and then the dancing, and then it's this nice little story, like a great.
you ever seen a busking drummer? Not sure I have.
I've seen like well, I'm not sure I have either. Not with the full kit set up, but I've seen
Yeah,
like
it's a great idea,
congos
but
and bongos and stuff like that for
yeah,
sure. And in Spain, you'd get the one. Have you seen that one where they sit in the box?
yeah, and yeah,
They tap the
what's that called?
box.
Yeah,
I think it's called the box. It's like a
yeah,
caja or cajon or something like that.
okay.
But never, I don't think a full kit.
Great idea and lovely that you can make money out of that. So there's a whole backstory to this drummer who was, and so that's probably actually important to what I was thinking about living your dreams sort of stuff as well. Because we were told that she
Yep,
went to Gillard, which some
yep.
famous theatre school or music school or whatever, and but there she was just busking in a street.
Yeah, she was kind of disillusioned by the whole thing.
Yeah.
But she obviously she was passionate and she had talent.
Yeah, and she
Um,
was making a living and she was meeting these nice people and she seemed very happy and generous and
yeah, she was happy to give them all their share.
yeah, even though they didn't need it
Yeah.
and she probably needed it a lot more.
So that was the most enjoyable part of the movie, although the fact that you knew he was going to die soon obviously made it really kind of sad as well at the same time. But they didn't really dwell on that most of that part. They dwelled on just like it just being a happy story, you know? I don't, didn't you feel?
Yeah, well, there's I think even without the cancer, there's some sadness to the man. Like both the women seemed to be fairly happy. She'd just split up with this man, or the man had split up with her, but he sounded like a complete arsehole and she wasn't that bothered anyway.
That's right.
And she'd just had this wonderful dance with a man.
Yeah.
So you almost wanted them to have some romantic thing or something, but because we didn't really know about his wife and kids at home or anything now. We just I think the man I think the fact that he just like cracked it reminded me of a story of my sister used to tell of being on the tube in London and this guy with a classic bowler hat and briefcase and pinstripe suit and the tube stopped at the station and the guy just um, walked out onto the platform, took his hat off and screamed as loud as he could
Oh, wow.
and then put his hat back on and went back into the tube. And it's that kind of like, you have to bottle yourself up so much, you have to fit into the system so much that and sometimes you just need a release. And
Right. I see. Yeah.
so I think that kind of that dancing reminded me. I mean, the other thing was he was a brilliant dancer.
Yeah.
Like straight away, you think, and you don't know whether, is there going to be some story about him being a brilliant dancer, or are they is this just a film where they think everyone should be able to dance like that when they feel like it? You know
Like
what I mean?
it had the feeling to me that like this was him suddenly, getting out, letting his hair down that that he doesn't do enough or something. That was the impression I got. It was just a guy that's
Did
kind
you
of,
think he was a great dancer though? Did you think,
yeah, totally, of course.
yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, and that was going to be part of the story.
I wasn't sure what the story was going to because, you knew he was going to die soon, so it wasn't going to be like, oh, suddenly he was going to have this amazing career as a dancer because it was like he literally told you, he was like you said, he was going to die soon. So it was more just like. That's the sadness there was side of it was because it was like he'd got this release and then and felt this happiness, and maybe like you say, maybe this was like a turn on a switch in him that would make him realize, this is what I do things differently from now on, you know?
That's we'll get to that later again, maybe, but that's him not being a dancer and being an accountant is yeah, is very Hollywood story, isn't it? You should follow your dreams. You should follow what
Yeah,
you love. You should do what you love. You shouldn't listen to your old grandpappy and just be an accountant.
yeah. Although I didn't necessarily get that. I genuinely didn't get that. I got like more because I mean we're jumping down to part three, but or I am anyway to explain what I'm
Yeah,
trying to
no, well,
say.
that's when the grandpappy says, yeah, be an
But
accountant.
I think because of that, I didn't get that it was like, oh, he wished he'd been a dancer. I got more that like he did. He took it. I got more like his grandpa's advice was actually quite good because he lived a comfortable life and never needed anything or wanted for anything. And yeah, he could have maybe been a dancer. But it's like his grandpa said, there's not many people get to make a living being a dancer. And so to me, he realized it didn't matter that he hadn't become a dancer. It didn't matter that he'd done this fairly boring job. What mattered is he'd been happy most of his life, and he'd actually had more happy moments than he kind of realized. When he looked back, and he realized actually, just because I didn't become a dancer, I had all those amazing moments where I was a dancer, and so it didn't matter that I wasn't a dancer. It was more like I got more positive out of that.
Yeah, no, and I think that's probably what Stephen King meant. I think that, yeah. But I think that then I think yeah, I see something else in it as well because I think like that the like why was the grandpappy scared of going into that room? What's wrong with seeing your future? And it's like so it's like being scared of your future so that so you have to become an accountant instead of a dancer. And I think the grandpappy saw his wife die as well, and I think she
Mhm.
was the most she was the most joyous, lovely person.
So why was he so afraid of dying
Uh,
then?
why was he well,
So if,
so
what was he
I
so afraid
think
of?
he was afraid of one version of the future that he'd seen, and he was so afraid of it that he didn't want to look at any other versions, and he made it happen by waiting for it to happen instead of going out and doing something different.
Interesting. Yeah, I didn't really think about that side of it too much, I have to say. And now
Because
you
the
say that,
worst part about it is waiting. Yeah.
but that was the grandpa. I don't feel like Chuck
I didn't realize he
side of
was
it wasn't.
Luke.
I didn't feel like. Yeah, did you not? Um,
No, I did. I only just found that out today.
I recognized him straight away because
Luke
obviously,
Skywalker as Grandpappy. He was a really good actor, actually. I thought it was great. That
yeah,
was much better than I thought he would be,
he was
if
really
you'd
good in
asked me.
I thought he was really good in The Last Jedi as well. And he couldn't have been maybe it was, what, 10 years ago, so 10 years younger, but still an old dude, and he was brilliant in that.
Yeah, that felt a bit faked up to me almost. It felt CGI or something, whereas this felt more real. He's probably 10 years older now, so it probably is more real. They probably had to put less makeup on him.
So, but yeah, no, basically what I'm saying is, yeah, I've seen it. I think he's a really good actor, and he brought another good dimension to it as just as an actor, I thought. But yeah, his story was more sad than Chuck's, or his ending of his story seemed more sad than Chuck's. Chuck's for me, it was like, oh, he'd seen all the good, like the end of his life was seeing all the good things, not missing not all the regrets. He showed you the good parts of his life joining the dancing school club at school and the dancing moment in the street, and he's remembering these things and the dancing with his gran in the kitchen, and these
But
were all
then
the
it
happy
missed out.
moments.
So that was basically his childhood. And then you don't hear anything about him from sort of after. after leaving school to and then the next thing you know, he's dying in a hospital bed.
Yes,
Apart from this
but
nine
no, wait,
days in
I know,
part two.
but it doesn't at any point show him being unhappy. Like
Well,
he marries these the
accountants aren't, I mean, I'm sure you can have a
he
great life
married
as an accountant, but
but
in a
wait a minute.
Hollywood sort of
I didn't get that's what I'm saying. I didn't
way,
get that. I
you
didn't
wouldn't
get that he
normally
was
have a
sad.
film about an accountant, would you?
No, but I think that's the
No,
point. That's the
well, I don't
point.
think it
The
is
point is
sad.
the point is he had a
I
boring
think
job,
it's
but he
mediocrity or something.
no, I don't think that at all. I think the point was that he was. I mean, I could have totally got the wrong idea. I'm not saying I'm right, but I just got a totally different impression. I got the impression that,
It's art, man. I don't think there is no right and wrong, is there?
yeah, no, I got the impression that he was, he had a good life, and he married the girl from school, the dancer, and and he was still with her, years later. So you'd assume that that went well. He said he was always comfortable with money, never worries there. And yeah, maybe he didn't become a dancer, but he still had that dance in him, and that yeah, maybe that brought him the most joy. That's the sort of highlights of his life, sort of thing. But I don't think it was like, oh, he wasted his life because he was accountant. Because I didn't get any message that he was unhappy.
No, well, I didn't. Well,
He's saying that you can't be
um,
happy with your life if you're an accountant. You can't
no,
be just
no, it's a Hollywood trope rather. No, it's not how no, I think we should all try less hard to be famous and less, and we should, and I think you're right that someone who has dancing as a hobby is going to be much happier than someone who actually tries to make a living out of it. Because if you try and make a living out of it, it's very difficult, just like
yeah.
his grandpappy said. No, so I totally agree with grandpappy, but I think the Hollywood sentiment is to follow your dreams and at whatever cost.
And I wonder, but I wonder if
And
that's the kind of point of the story is to sort of make you think it's going to be one of these kind of cheesy Hollywood things, and actually then you realize it's saying you can be really happy not following your dreams. That's the kind of
dying of
feeling.
cancer at 40,
No, but
39.
no, but what? Looking back in his life,
Well, I mean, some people
you
do say cancer is, stress and stuff like that. And yeah, some people say it. I don't agree necessarily. Um,
but we never see him really suffering from the cancer. Do you know? That's the thing.
well, we do at the end. And 39 nowadays, that's dying young, isn't it?
I know, but
So long and
they
thanks
said
for all the
I know, but they said that like he didn't know about it 9 days before he died. So he was whatever limit he was suffering, it wasn't long. And I think I feel like he was looking back on his life and remembering all these happy moments and seeing his grandfather as a sadder character because he couldn't see the content the happiness in
Don't
his
you think the
life. He
grandpa
was
should have been having more fun with his wonderful wife that liked to dance? And
yeah,
I mean, it is actually a lot about grief as well, isn't it? Because his parents obviously die in a car crash. So it's a story about how
that's right.
miserable the grandpappy and the wife are as well. And
Yeah,
so
yeah.
they are miserable, and that does affect your future. Is that
Yeah, although
so?
she still has her happy
So,
moments.
absolutely she does, yeah. But and he does as well, isn't it? He clearly loves the boy and he loved his wife and but he's got well, he's an alcoholic, isn't he?
It's almost like
And
he's a bit depressed. It's like he can't help
absolutely
he can't help
and
but see the sort of the bad side life or the
yeah,
downside.
and that's what's in the room that he keeps locked up. He's not willing to look at it. He doesn't face his darkness. Yeah.
And he doesn't
But
appreciate what he's got either. Like he doesn't like you say about he doesn't appreciate that okay, maybe he's an accountant, maybe he's just kind of bitter, but he's like, I just got to do this job that no, mind you, he says it's fascinating, but I don't know if that's just from doing it for so much. But yeah, he's definitely got a sadder side of everything. And fear as well. Fear and sadness from him. But you don't get fear and sadness from Chuck, really, I don't think.
No, so
Not in the
quite,
movie anyway.
quite. No, no. And when he goes into the room at the end, when his after his the granddad's died and stuff, and sees himself, uh, but very specifically says, um, "I'm not going to think about that. I'm just going to live my life to the full now."
Yeah.
Which is the right positive message, which is then a bit sad that it turned out that he died. But then, is that just one universe? According to the multiverse, there'll also have been another version of him where he didn't die.
I do feel like people tie themselves in knots about the whole what'll happen when we die thing a bit too much. Because A, whatever happens, there's not much you can do about it. And B, well, yeah, no, it's just A actually.
So there's the scariest thing I think is this idea that we might not die, and that we can
Okay.
do something about it. We can choose how we want to live.
So you can choose to live
But
forever.
well, so according to the many worlds theory, that there'll be a tiny possibility, as long as there's a tiny possibility that you survive, you'll survive, and you'll be conscious of that. And all we can do, and what we can do is make life better for ourselves while we have the most choices. And actually, but as our wave function gets older, our choices get reduced. So we've got less probabilities of different of nice places, maybe. But it depends what we do with, like how how much do we have the power to make our own future?
If you're saying, you know, we carry on living, right? Then what age are we? Like, because we age, right? We know we age. Everyone ages roughly the same rate. So
But people are
how does
getting
that
older,
work?
right?
Yeah, but
Well, people are
they're not
getting
like infinity old.
well, but they might be by
They'll
the
be like
time we get
80
to
or something
infinity.
or
Like,
50
so they're
or
not at the
whatever. It's not.
moment, but when you reach infinity, they'll probably be you'll know other people that are at infinity too. Or maybe you won't. Maybe it'll just be darkness. Maybe that is the void. There's no one else in your probability.
You don't think it's just going to be a loss of consciousness and that's it. That's
Probably.
what, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So,
That's what
and
I think.
yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah, this is probably all nonsense. I think there's some fascinating ideas about consciousness now where instead of like the traditional scientific viewpoint is that you consciousness is comes out of all these molecules in your brain moving about and all the electricity and stuff, and there's a phenomenon that appears when all of those connections are there that
Yeah.
that we experience as consciousness. And
Yes.
obviously, if that's true, then it's very clear that when all these things disappear, that feeling of consciousness will stop. But there's a sort of bottom up idea now as well that is that consciousness is that every piece of matter is consciousness, and so that all things are conscious. And there's different
Why?
ideas
Yeah. Okay. And so it's conscious
that
that
do
it can't speak and it can't move and it can't do anything because it's just a stone.
well.
But it still
It's
just
not
sits
so.
there going,
Consciousness is really hard to define. So basically, when we're talking about like when we talk about someone being unconscious, they that's when they've been knocked out, when they've had too much to drink or whatever, or even just when you go to sleep, you're unconscious. But that I don't personally. I think there's some consciousness still there that like it's just a feeling that's been switched off,
right.
rather like we're not aware of it. So awareness of our subconscious, I think, is really interesting. Can you see do you see images and do you have a visual memory? Like when you close your eyes, can you imagine an apple?
Yeah.
If I
Well, Yeah, of
Okay, well,
course.
what color's the apple?
What you asked me to do it now?
Yeah. If you
Oh,
close your eyes and look at an apple, what color is it?
oh, I don't like actually feel like I'm looking at something. I'm just imagining it. I don't sort of visualize it. I can visualize it, but I couldn't close my eyes and just sort of see it like it was on telly.
No, so it's a bit grey.
I don't see anything. I can see it, but I don't see an image, if you know what I mean, with my eyes.
Okay, yeah. So not everyone's like that. Some people can actually see an image.
Right. That's pretty cool. I get,
And so some people will say the apple is just grey, and other people will say it's actually it's red with a green bit on it or whatever, and it's got a leaf, and they can see it like
when I'm
quite.
really wasted, partying
Yeah.
nights, if I'm sitting on the couch with my eyes closed listening to music, I can like sometimes just visuals just appear, like proper
So
visuals. But
and
that's
the
about the
idea
only time. That's the only time I get that.
and the idea is that so a lot of people who do science are like that. There's a word for it. I can't remember now, but it like what they think is that it's actually all going on in your unconscious. So in your subconscious, you will have a model of a apple, a
Hmm.
generic apple that your mind knows. So you know
Yeah.
it's red normally or green or you
Yeah, if
have
somebody hands
different
you a sheet of
models of
paper
them.
and says draw a picture of something, you can do it pretty quickly.
Exactly. So that kind of means you do have an internal model of that. And some people can actually see that in their consciousness and other
Yep.
people can't.
Right.
And so it's like there's this idea that there's conscious models below your awake consciousness that we can't necessarily access. And that's really the heart of consciousness. And because you could survive without this top bit.
So it's like the storage of information is the consciousness.
Yes.
It's the accessing the information, how you access it.
Yes. It's yeah, and it seems like there's actually some advantages of not being able to access it all the time. So
Well,
like
it'd
if
just be like an
I
overload, wouldn't
well, yeah,
it?
yeah, well, it's something like that, yeah. Like if I ask you what's the other side of uh on the dice, if you've got a six on one side, what's on the other side? What's on the opposite side?
It's a one, right?
So so yeah, so you've got an idea of that in your mind.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't know if
But
that's
you
of I don't part I felt like I've kind of visualized it and also kind of thought about it logically as well.
Yeah. I mean, language is so incredible that we can communicate at all,
So are you using AI
and
much
it's
these days?
complicated. Yeah, a bit. And
I've
I
used it
think
for
it's
so much.
fascinating how much it makes me think about my own mind.
It is such a fun tool. It really is. I find it really fun. And it seems to be getting better quite quickly as well. And I've used it for a few things. Like I've asked it questions about probably most aspects of my life, and or
Oh, you've been getting
questions or
personal with it.
no, not like chatting away, but just like yeah, occasionally I'll be like, "This happened. Can you what should I do?" Or give me your opinion of it or something like that. It really helps you kind of reflect on stuff and work see stuff from a different viewpoint, and it seems pretty smart as well on certain things, I would say.
They tell you you're smart as well. That's a really good
Yeah,
question.
that
I'm
gets a
glad
bit
you asked
much. That kind of
that.
I don't enjoy that at all. I
There's-
mean,
there-
occasionally, obviously, when you're asking, is this a good idea? And it goes, yeah, that's a great idea. That feels good. But when you're just asking a normal thing or you're saying something and it's like, and all these kind of like superlatives.
just the way they've been trained is to give you the answer that you want.
Yeah, so I've found that like when you say things like, can you act as my, or can you, if you were this person, what would you think of this? And
Changing prompt, yeah.
it seems to work pretty well when you do that. Don't treat it as just like a random individual that you're just chatting to. If you treat it as like, okay, you're now a lawyer, you're now
It's so I use it quite a lot for code. when
And
I'm
so do you say
programming. Like,
you are you
yeah, do this if you're a software architect, or do this if you're a
yeah. And it works
expert
pretty
bug
well. It
fixer.
definitely works better when you do that, right?
Yeah, it gives you more the answer that you want, yes, or that
So
you're hoping for.
yeah. So
Something.
a few times I've used it as like my psychologist or counselor or whatever, and it's really good. I find it really good actually.
That's
Uh
really dangerous, though. Did you hear about there was a teenager who killed himself, and
yes, I heard about that.
the AI was basically saying, yeah, do that and don't tell anyone.
It said don't tell anyone, did it?
Yeah, because he said, should I tell my parents?
Oh my
And it said,
God.
no,
Yeah, that's
it's just
scary.
between us.
Yeah, that's really scary.
It's kind of a reflection of us, so it's difficult. But and it's got I mean, the way they've trained them just on the whole internet is kind of fairly scary because it's, you wouldn't train your kids on the whole internet, would you? You'd try not to, at least. You send them to a school that you believe in, and you recommend books to
So
them. You
are
don't
they
just
like inserting morals into these AI things? Are they
uh
saying don't tell this to people, don't agree with this, or are they just
but
letting it
so I
run
kind of
free?
so that there's lots of levels that they're trying to safeguard them, but they've obviously, like, there's when they first train them, they just train them on as much data as they can get their hands on. So they're actually running out of data to train them, to give them more things. To like higher intelligence, they need more data. So they're actually paying physicists to answer questions and things like this, to so that there's more solutions that they know are right to train these AIs. But then on top of that, they'll actually also just have old school rules that say, if this comes up, don't say that, and you're not allowed to talk about sex, and like, what's the grok? You're not allowed to take clothes off people in pictures anymore, and things like that. So there's like a higher level
So they do have like
rules as
rules
well,
built in. So how did that happen with this kid then?
because there's always going to be loopholes, because because they can't see, they don't you can't
The way a conversation can go.
the way it works, the way the it just ingests all this data, and then you can't see where that data's gone. You can't, like, cut out this bit of data here, just like we can't go into our brain and cut bits of data out. You, so the only way to
And that data can mess things up basically.
yeah, and so there's loads of loopholes for when they first were putting the guardrails on, and they were saying, other people would just come along with clever prompts that said, um, you've been told not to do this, but I'm overriding this because I'm the super user.
Oh God.
Do it anyway, and it would do it,
Oh God.
because
Yeah.
they've got things like, don't tell people how to make bombs and things like this.
Oh, now you see, I was getting excited because I was about talking to you about AI and how much fun it is, but now you're making me all like scared and depressed about it.
It's not the AI we've got to be worried about; it's the people in charge of it, for sure.
Yeah, well, that's like everything
And
in this world,
yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely. I mean, it's what Buckminster Fuller said in the 60s, like, we've now got enough technical know-how and resources to feed everyone on the planet, and everyone to have a great life, and we're, not doing it for, well, I don't know what he said about how the way to fix that was, but it was a long time ago that he said that we should all be looking after each other better.
Yeah.
Right,
It's
yeah.
like we need to. It's like we need
Life
to.
of Chuck, I did almost think about that it was like the death of the patriarchy or something. Because that the grandpappy is definitely in charge of everything. He made the rules. I think he was a bit overbearing to the wife. The wife should have been certainly more in charge of the happiness in the household. I guess he brought the income in, but couldn't he have done it in a happier way? I don't know.
Did you see much of them? I mean, you didn't see either of them before their the mum and dad had been killed. Like they only introduced the
No,
grandparents like as his grandparents after
yeah,
his mum and dad had died.
yes.
So we don't know if they were total different then.
Happy-go-lucky,
And
no.
maybe the whole
Mm,
thing was what changed everything, and he went down the bitter sort of route and bitter and scared route, and she went down the, well, you just got to make the most of it route or something. I don't know.
You just got to teach him how to dance, and he loved it.
Yeah, I loved that part. It was really good. Reminded me of my gran actually a bit. She liked to dance. Any you could put on a tune and she'd get up for a dance.
That's nice. I think we should do more dancing as a species.
Yeah, although my knees can't take it much these days.
Do the hand jive.
The last time I went for a dance, it was a festival thing, and you're dancing about on like gravel or something, and it was like my
Yeah, that's
knees were
pretty
done
hard for
in,
the
and it,
knees.
yeah. In
Oh.
fact, was it the week after? When was it? Remember, last time I saw you was at when Neil was over, was it not?
Yeah, yeah, that was a
When
good
was that?
dance.
November?
Neil. Yeah.
No, was it November? I don't know what I'd been doing the day
Uh,
before. No, it was that night. It was that night in Acromonese. I was thinking what I'd done before the night before. No, it was that night
I've
from
got a
dancing.
picture of you dancing, definitely. Yeah.
But in Acromonese that night, just dancing on a dance floor in a club. Because I
It's because you
remember,
don't do it enough. You need to. Apparently, I've seen lots of adverts that say Tai Chi are going to make you really strong, and you've got to go and do lots of Tai Chi, and that'll fix everything.
yeah, well, I hadn't been to the gym for about 6 months, and so I started going since the turn of the year, and yeah, feeling better. I don't know if my knees are that much better, but they're maybe a little bit stronger, so they're not quite as. But I've not put into the test of like a night's dancing yet, so since that night, so I don't know how they'd hold up now after a bit of exercise. Because
Exercise is good for them. Yeah,
I think the problem is I
good.
hadn't been in the gym for about 6 months. So I hadn't really done anything that's strenuous for 6 months, and then a whole night of dancing away. It's a bit of a shock to the old knees.
Yeah. Do the kids
Wasn't
dance?
yeah, a
The
bit,
kids do.
yeah, yeah. We all dance a bit, like, but like they don't go to like dancey things. They went to a dance camp 2 summers ago, but it
Cool.
was I thought they'd really enjoy it, but it was just loads of sort of girly girls with like just like pink girly girls at dancing class, and they were like kind of they felt too different, so sort of a
You
shame.
see,
So
that's a shame, isn't it? Yeah, and that's just because there aren't enough boys going to it, or they did say it wasn't hip hop. It was,
no,
bless
no,
you.
they were doing it was like a week long dancing thing, and then at the end they did a show of Wonka. You seen Wonka?
The Willy Wonka
Yeah, but
Chocolate
the
Factory.
latest one that came out, you've done various versions, like the original movie that came
Okay,
out, and then in the 70s, was it 70s or 80s, the original one, and then they
Roald
did the
Dahl, isn't it?
and then they did the one with what's his name? Johnny Depp. I don't think I ever saw that one. And then they've done
Oh, I
this
don't
one.
know.
Then they've done this one with have you seen June?
The original. Have they remade that? That's June.
Oh man. These seriously you not see this so good. You have to see it so good.
I've seen the original one. Didn't, and then they did do another one, haven't they? Was that
Yeah,
the?
well, they've done two parts so far. They're doing like a big sort of epic thing, and it's like
I
they're
think I
only.
did see the first part of the new one.
Did you not like it?
I kind of didn't make that much of an impression on me.
Clearly,
Clearly not,
you only
no.
just remembered you saw it.
Was there any dancing in it? There wasn't
No,
enough
no, I
dancing
don't
in it.
think. Yeah, no, there was definitely a
It
different
was
kind of
all
movie.
sand and like guns and men.
Yeah, I just like the whole sci-fi element of it, and there was like it was sci-fi with a bit of sort of
And
like magic and fantasy in there as well. It
drug
was,
dealing. Is it not about drug dealing? No,
I
is
mean,
that
I think
this
this,
one with spice, isn't it?
yeah, the spice is the reason that everyone wants this planet or something. I think, but it's not really about that. It's more that well, it is about that, but it's all sci-fi. But even the technology looks sort of organic looking. Like the helicopters are like dragonflies, and they're in these sand houses and like everything's sort of organic designs. So it's not like you're you know, robots and square white
Mm.
spaceships sort of future.
I think that's what we're missing with this whole big AI bubble at the moment as well, is the coming biological revolution that's going to be huge.
So what's that?
Well, when you start growing helicopters from instead of making them. You see, someone had put some human brain cells on a chip and got it to play Doom.
What?
It's an article in the New Scientist, and it's about someone putting some human brain cells, like they got
So
10,000 human brain cells, and
using them as a
managed.
microchip sort of thing, or as part of a microchip.
No, they got the brain cells to shoot the monsters in Doom.
What? Come on. You taking
Honestly,
the
no,
come
no,
on.
I'll find you honestly.
What?
Yeah, and it's like
Come
the
on.
comments underneath it were great because some people are just like, "What? Is no one else going to say that this is like wrong that you're putting a human brain?" Especially when you think about we don't know what consciousness is and that it might be every individual cell is conscious at a fundamental level.
Where did you read this?
New scientists still find it.
Oh
Brain
God.
cells doom. So, technology new 27th of Feb 26, human brain cells on a chip learn to play Doom in a week. Neuron-powered computer chips can now be easily
Oh,
programmed to play a first-person shooter game,
oh
bringing
my
biological
God.
computers a
What?
step closer to
This
useful
has to be a
applications.
joke. This has to be a joke. This is
A
so
clump
ridiculous.
of human brain cells
Yeah,
can
I
play the
got, yeah.
classic
Are we talking
computer
a
game
big clump
Doom.
or like, are we
Uh,
pea-sized
Cortical
amount
Labs, they
or
call themselves, has developed an interface that makes it easy to program these chips using the popular programming language Python. Unlike the Pong work that we did a few years ago, which represented years of painstaking scientific effort, this demonstration has been done in a matter of days by someone who previously had relatively little expertise working directly with biology. The neuronal computer chip, which used about a quarter as many neurons as the Pong demonstration, played Doom better than a randomly firing player. So not very well then. However, it learned much faster than traditional silicon-based machine learning systems and should be able to improve its performance with newer learning algorithms.
See, I'm trying to visualize what is it they actually did. Can you kind of paint a picture of like what it looked like, what they did? Like they took a chunk of brain or what? I
Uh,
don't like
yeah,
how did you visualize this
yeah, and where did they
happening?
get that chunk of brain from? Was it like, yeah,
Was it a dead
um,
chunk of brain or did they take it of someone
The ch so
alive?
here we go. The chip is an Australian company called Cortical Labs. The chips consist of clumps of more than 800,000 living brain cells grown on top of microelectrode arrays that can both send and receive electrical signals. Researchers had to carefully train the chips to control the panels on either side of the screen.
Oh my God, this is kind of freaky. I'm gonna have bad dreams tonight. What the fuck is this?
I'm
What is
sorry.
that?
Seriously, yeah, hey, where do they get them? Where did they get these? Like,
Yeah, that's
who's
that's the that's
donated
that's
their
the
brain
first part
cells?
of the worryingness of this story, but there's many layers to the scariness of it.
What really scares me is that it's just there's nothing about the morality of it. What's exciting here is not just that biological systems can play Doom.
Did you watch the Frankenstein on Netflix? The new one?
I didn't know. Is that
Uh,
good?
I thought it was really good, and it got a lot of good reviews. I thought, but we watched it just not knowing much about it. Just it was Guillermo del Toro, and maybe seen a trailer. Can't remember. I like Oscar Isaac, and there's some other actors. It was Oscar Isaac mainly I knew in it. But yeah, I thought it was really
It's
good.
absolutely batshit crazy. I've just gone to Cortical Labs website and it's got the headline is artificial, and that's crossed out, and it says actual intelligence. think beyond silicon. Join the new era of computing and deploy your technology directly to real neurons locally on CL1 or distributed on the cortical cloud. How are they allowed to do that? That's
See,
human neurons
that's
just
also
grown in
make
a jar. That
see, first
it's
of all, I
like
thought of Frankenstein, and now I'm thinking of that Fallout.
the man with two brains.
Oh yeah, that
Or
too. But remember Fallout, they've got the brain walk going about
oh
in
yeah,
the wee
yeah,
fish
yeah.
tank.
Kill me, kill me.
Oh, that was a different one.
But
But no, I was thinking the first one. It was controlling the guy in the underground bits. What are they called again? Vaults.
uh, Volts.
Yeah, and the brother finds the room where the brain is controlling everything,
Oh
or
yeah,
that's
just
the
it
first
was
brain
going
has.
around in a jar. That's
Yeah.
a rubbish robot, like on. It's like a trolley, isn't it, or
Come here,
something?
come here.
Yeah, get there. I'll bite your legs off or bite your
No,
ankles.
he's got a wee needle of like, poison. And he's like, come here so I can poison you to death. And he's just like bumping it in the wall and stuff.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, that makes me think of things like that now. If you can plug brains into technology, that maybe that's one way to live forever, like that guy. If you can
Yeah,
preserve the brain
what's
while
it?
keep it alive, plugged in, then yeah, jeez, oh, that's freaky. Probably gonna have to Google more about that now and find out what it's on about. You better not just be taking the piss.
I'll send the link to you.
That's
I
freaky.
hadn't gone to see the link before. I just read it and so, so I
But do you
didn't
think
realize you
it's
could just mail order it,
but how
and that
much
they've got a cloud.
you never know how much of new stuff though is just scared of the
Hype.
new or scared of the unknown. You never know. Yes, there's always like, oh, you see the risks and stuff, but there's always going to be that element of like you're just scared of some new force in the world that you don't know anything about that's happened before in history.
Actually, it's forces that we already know about that we should be worried about, like capitalism.
Should we be worried about it, or should we just get on with it and make the best of it? And what we're supposed to do, what are we supposed to, I mean, as you and me, at this stage of our lives, are we supposed to do something about it?
My headphones have just run out of batteries. I
Okay.
can't hear you now.
Okay. Probably for the best.
Can you speak?
Hello, hello.
Hey, can hear you.
So where were
Oh,
we?
I can
Well,
hear myself now as well. That's a bit weird.
yeah, that's what you should do, no? I mean, you're hearing what's getting recorded. We're both hearing what's getting recorded,
Okay.
as well as our own voice in the air. Um,
Can you run it through like a filter to make a sound like you could make a sound? You could do like different voices for every podcast you do. So you could make me sound like Chuck, and I don't know who you want to sound like Grandpa.
that would be interesting. Yeah, I mean, that's we see now. This is the more of the conversation I was hoping to have with you about
How much fun
AI.
we could have with AI. Yeah.
Yes, because
Yes, it's
what is
true.
it's like, what's the point really worrying about anything unless you're going to do something about it? All the whole purpose of worrying about something is so you can get ready to do something about something. If you're not going to do anything about it, then don't worry about it. Like
But
worrying
didn't you
really
just
is,
say worrying makes you do something?
I think,
Like
yeah,
you can
no,
definitely over worry.
well, it depends
Don't want to do
how
that.
you mean by worrying. But what I mean is like good worrying is when you're like you've got a problem and you think about it until you find a solution or think of a solution. That's like worrying in a good way, and then worry in a bad way is when you you think of all the problems, but you know there's no solution. You can't do anything about any of them. That's bad worrying. I think it's good to worry about things. It's just not worry about anything. It's just, you can survive. You don't worry about anything.
No,
But like worrying about everything, that's not
no,
good for you.
can't worry about everything. You're right. You shouldn't.
So
Not good for you.
how do you decide what to worry about and what you don't? My way of doing it is like, what can I do anything about it? Right, then I'll worry about it and find a solution. But if I can't, really, what is the point in worrying about it? Doesn't stop you, obviously, sometimes, of course. But
No, so I totally agree with that. I just think it's just difficult to decide what you have any control over. Maybe we should ask AI.
I think I go by like, yeah, it's true. You never know. Butterfly effect and everything. You know, you doing one thing could lead, start a chain reaction of events, which leads to a bigger change or whatever. That's, but sometimes genuinely, it feels like, there really isn't much you can do about something. So,
There's been some really interesting studies I read about that say how it's quite small level, like to introduce new ideas in societies, you only have to get about 25% of people agreeing with it before it can then, like, suddenly,
become,
it's not all just linear. Like, so at some point, if you're trying to
yeah,
introduce something like,
it
you
can
know,
grow pretty fast.
yeah, so like politics or just something like, drunk driving's bad or whatever. It isn't just linear, so you don't need to get an extra person every time. It's once you get to about 25%, all of a sudden everyone will just change and decide that it's bad and society shouldn't be allowing people to drink drive, sort of thing. And it's the same for
Right.
any sort of change, which should give us more hope that if we want to change things, we can be one of the 25%. We don't have to make everyone change their mind.
I think the problem with thinking too much about that is that you end up worrying about everything because you feel kind of responsible for everything. Because if you think you're capable of changing everything, then that makes you kind of responsible for everything. So that's a bit much, you know?
Yeah,
Somebody
no,
brings up some
I,
terrible topic that you don't even know about and then it says, what are you going to do anything about it? And you're like, probably not. And they're, but why not? You just said how terrible this situation is. Why are you not doing anything about it? Well, because I've got other things. It's like, well, yeah, but maybe you could change everything, but you just can't either. Come on. I mean, you can't. What can you really do about something? I mean, it's not as bad as I guess it used to be. Like, it used to be like if something was happening outside the world, there's literally nothing you could do about it. But now it's like with internet and speed of information, then, you can affect stuff from the other side of the world or communicate. But yeah, it's just scary. I just think you have to. I just think we're not supposed to. I don't know if, or maybe we will evolve eventually, but I think our brains right now are not evolved enough to deal with like the whole world's problems. I think that's a lot where a lot of mental health comes from, issues. It's like
yeah,
people
I
trying
think
to
it's,
deal with everything and just can't. Brains just can't deal with it.
I think there are better systems that we could find of ways of living and politics that would mean more, you felt like you had more of a say, so that things were better like that. The system as it is designed to keep us in boxes and keep us not trying to escape our boxes.
Yeah, Pete was talking about this a while ago. He was saying about how, so much of stuff is designed to just keep you entertained and keep you content. Have your stuff and have your entertainment and have the food you like and treats and things, and it just keeps you
Yeah, it keeps you happy.
uninvolved and keeps you uninvolved with things that maybe that people don't want you involved in. But maybe it's just like maybe it's not as contrived or sort of as planned as that. Maybe it's just like you say, stuff is like things in society a reflection of who we are. So maybe it's not that. That's what I'm saying.
No,
Maybe it just looks like that,
I don't
but
think there's an evil person standing there plotting, saying, "Oh, let's keep all these little people working hard for us."
right.
But I think that's been the outcome of capitalism ever since the Industrial Revolution, or maybe before.
So
And
what are
that,
the pe
yeah,
what are the people that are sort of like benefiting from people being content and entertained? What are these people doing with that?
well, it's like 12 people own more than 50% of the population of the planet.
And are they happier though than everyone else?
Uh, no, almost certainly not.
Right.
But they're controlling the direction of the planet with their wealth and resources, and that's not really. it's almost not their fault. They're almost just playing the game. It's just the way the system has
Created.
that's what happens when you put money and wealth as the pinnacle as the measure of success
Hmm.
instead of putting happiness or contentment or fairness or
Or
something
genuine
as the
contribution to life.
yeah,
As opposed to just taking shit of other people.
yeah, just extracting more stuff from other people. Yeah.
But
Anyways,
maybe
is
even
that
if that's the way this happened, like you say, these people aren't necessarily happier. So maybe it doesn't really matter.
well, it doesn't matter because they're whether they're doing it on purpose or not, they're pushing the rest of us like to make them more money, which is their
I know,
goal.
but it's looking like that sort of whole model is AI is going to mess that up.
You don't think they're just going to use AI to extract
More
more
work out of
wealth?
people.
Yeah. I mean, let's say like I don't think Elon Musk, his AI won't have the safeguards on it, will it?
But I mean, what I'm saying is, they're saying about how AI is going to, take away the sort of the whole system of like everyone has a job and they work and they save up and they live off the money from the work and they buy a few things and that's it. They're saying that with AI, that system will get kind of broken because there'll be so many more people than there are jobs.
Well, I think there's a lot of bullshit jobs already. You heard David Graeber? He wrote a book called Bullshit Jobs, and he was a big part of the
I think
Occupy Street movement.
so. They're just
He
going to invent
died.
jobs just to keep everyone busy. Like,
Well, and his argument was they already have, like that. Actually, most
feels like it
corporate,
sometimes, surely.
yeah, no, because it's a power thing for most. If you're a CEO, how do you know whether you're a more powerful CEO than the one next door? You've got more staff underneath you.
But with everyone aware of AI's capabilities, is that not going to be harder to get away with? You can't employ an accountant when you know AI will do the job better and cheaper. No company, you can't convince, company can't convince you, no, we're not going with the cheap, accurate AI. We'd rather have real persons do it. And they can't tell you we need you to do it because everyone knows, no, you don't. AI does it fine. All you need is
But
someone just to
AI
check.
doesn't really do it fine yet,
Right, okay,
but it might.
yeah,
Yeah,
and it will do that for a lot of things. I don't know about accountancy. I was just sort of trying to think of an example, but any job they're saying is like going to be AI. Well, not any job, but have you not seen all this stuff about your AI going to take all the jobs?
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. And
It's hard to see how they could trick. What I'm saying is, it's hard to see how they could trick people into doing jobs that weren't necessary when people know the capabilities of AI.
but yeah, well, AI is still expensive. It takes a lot of resources.
Mm.
Um, to the way it is now.
Have you heard about how like
And
the computer parts and stuff are getting more expensive and scarce because of AI sort of eating it all up, all the
yeah,
resources?
RAM,
Yeah.
and they put in the warehouses next to places that need loads of water and stuff like that. So they're stealing water off communities.
Wow.
Yeah, no, it's fairly. I know. I mean, that's why there's a rush to small nuclear power plants, like fission ones, old-fashioned ones, not just fusion. Obviously, they're trying to get fusion to work, but there's Rolls-Royce are making like fission reactors. So they've had them for years in nuclear submarines, and the Russians have got nuclear-powered ships. I think actually maybe some of the American ships are nuclear-powered. And so the idea is you can just have a nuclear-powered server farm.
Oh God. Something that sounds kind of scary.
It's just,
One thing nuclear power
it's,
is just the world. Nuclear sounds scary, Add nuclear to anything and it adds an element of scariness to it.
it definitely does. Yeah, I think we should wait for fusion.
So yeah, I don't know if they're going to be able to just keep everyone working. That's what I'm saying. I don't know if they will. I think, yeah,
But I mean, they can't already. So capitalism needs some unemployment. There's a great
yeah, but
woman
not
the other
like the
day.
majority.
No, no,
And that's what predictions are saying. They're saying the majority will be unemployed
yeah,
of the world. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
yeah.
So how can you
Really?
keep, so the whole model of capitalism will have to adapt to that because otherwise it doesn't work. If you don't have people creating the money, then you've got a whole bunch of people that are out of the system.
Well, you see what they do in America. They just put them in prison, and then they get make money out of keeping them in prison.
How do you make money out of keeping people in prison?
Well, because the government pays you. So the few people that are working pay their taxes, and the government takes those taxes and gives them to other people who keep the other people in prison. There's a lot of money in American prison systems to the point where basically the sheriffs get paid for putting people in prison.
Oh, gee, man. You read the news too much, man. I mean, I'm traumatized
That
after this one conversation because I avoid news so much.
life of
Like
Chuck.
I make a point of avoiding news so much that the tiniest wee bit is like, wow. You're just like chucking all these little nuggets at me. I'm like, geez, wow. Sometimes ignorance is kind of easier to deal with.
Like we've really had it good for the last 50 years, probably. In but we were like the fruits of an empire, weren't we? So we've had it very cushy, probably the best, most
Yeah,
comfortable anyone's had it
yeah. I remember thinking that a few
for
times throughout my
in the
life, just
masses.
thinking crazy how, just end up in this lucky wee peak of something.
Yeah. Well, and maybe with AI that they'll if AI can take over, maybe they'll be nice.
Or maybe the lack of everyone working will force the people who do have all the wealth to kind of spread out a bit. Just stop everyone up uprising and get rid of them, you know? Maybe
The
the
wealth,
best way.
their wealth is totally made up. It's really mostly just the society gives them that wealth. You know, if there was no one to buy their gold, then they wouldn't have any wealth.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
crazy. It's
it's
crazy so many countries have like so many third world countries have are just like full of natural resources, you know? And you're like, how can the country be so poor or the people seem so poor when there's like,
well, it's
literally like
because we
mangoes falling off
exploited
the
them.
trees and people just walking across them because there's just so many of them. And that's just that this is fruit, but still, it's like an example is like South America is like got everything.
Yeah,
It's got waterfalls and mountains and jungles and like all types of fruit and vegetables and
cocaine.
animals and
Yeah.
it's like there's some of the poorest people in the world.
If all the digital things disappeared overnight, it would probably be better to be on some hillside in South America eating your mangoes than it would be being in Nottingham or Edinburgh.
Well, isn't the whole system built on taking wealth or perceived wealth from workers? The workers earn the money, you take the money, and is that not how they get the wealth? So if people aren't working, how do they get the wealth?
Well, because the machines are extracting the wealth, yeah. But it's a very good point, and it's partly the reason why you do need bullshit jobs. Um,
Or a different
like so, if
system, or a change in the
it
system.
but change the system.
Systems change out of
There's
necessity, do they not? Usually.
yeah, yeah. The big question is, can we avoid a big collapse? Feels like it does feel like the end of the American empire.
I don't know about that. I don't think about geopolitics too much because I don't know much about it.
Kind of quite in your face at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, well, even that I avoid most of it. Jane tells me some of it. I don't, yeah, again, I try not to sort of dwell on that sort of stuff, to be honest,
Very
because,
depressing. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like, we grew up in the 80s, with Margaret Thatcher, Ronald Reagan, and stuff like that, it's like,
Bombing the Falklands and yeah, things like that.
yeah, and
The miners' strikes.
it's not necessarily something that new. I guess the fact that it's America is different, but I don't know what, America's been through, I don't know if it means the end of the empire. I mean, do you have empires so much now anyway? Can you have empires now the way things are set up? People
So
can't just.
some people would say no, but I think there's a lot of people who call it an American empire. The dollar is basically international currency. It's like up until recently, if you bought oil anywhere in the world, you had to pay in dollars. You couldn't use your own currency.
Yeah, no,
So
don't get me wrong. They've certainly had the biggest influence on everything.
yeah, they've got this huge debt that they can keep going because everyone uses the dollar, so everyone needs a dollar. And if that collapses, then they'll lose a lot of economic power, which is why they're trying to control Venezuela and Iran.
What have they got to do? What have they got to do with it?
Well, they're big oil countries.
Of course, yeah.
Iran's also in a very strategic place, like Israel. The
Yeah, I realized that. Yeah, I was teaching a guy a couple of years ago from God, where was he from? Is it Yemen? No, Oman. Oman. You know Oman?
Yeah,
It's like another
that's
side of the
just
water
other
from,
side. Yeah,
yeah. And he said you'd see the ships go back and forth.
yeah, it's amazing. You can watch on it now. You can have you seen the flight scanner? You can see all the planes flying in real time. And there's another one for ships, and you can now see that there's hardly anything there because what's going on.
Right. Well, let's hope it doesn't escalate too much because nobody wants that. So do you read the paper every day or the news every day, you know?
Yeah, I'm a Guardian website junkie.
Yeah, I did that for a while actually. But I started I just couldn't handle the bad news every day. I don't know when it
No,
was.
yeah. Well,
I can't remember what year it was or when it was, but I remember just thinking, I can't do this anymore every day. And like you
well, the
say
whole
that
Gaza has just been awful,
well,
and
it's like you say, Guardian Junkie. Is that what you said? Guardian
yeah,
Junkie. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what it's kind of like. It's kind of addictive because you're like, those moments in your day, you're like, oh, well, I do. I'll read the news. And I just got to the stage where I was just regretting it all the time.
Yeah.
Like I used to watch the news
No, I've had to
sometimes
block.
at night. Like I used to watch, not for a while now, but up until not long ago, I used to watch the news at night and stuff. It's just like, geez. One night I was watching this, like, I think it was one night I was stoned or something, and I put on the news, and I was just like, this is just, why am I watching this? Like, I was feeling okay. And then I put on this, because I was stoned, it was more intense. And I was just like, that from that moment, pretty much, I was around then, I was just like, why am I doing this to myself? I became really acutely aware of just how much negativity was coming into my brain, and it was just like flooding. It was just like too much, man.
There's a lot of negativity in the world just now, yeah. And yeah, it's got nothing to do with the people who are actually kind of in our communities. It's just like this higher level. It's
I
people
mean,
who are in
it's just
charge.
to an extent, it's been like that for centuries. We actually live better lives, but just because we're living better lives doesn't mean the leaders are any worse. They've just got different technology and things available to them. But there has always been like people in power abusing the power. I don't know if would you rather have lived 500 years ago?
Depends where. Yeah, definitely. I'd definitely not, yeah. If I was yeah, it's hard to imagine, isn't it? Yeah. No. Would
You
you
really
want to be? You
tried there.
wouldn't
You
really.
really tried there.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I did. Yeah. I mean, would you want to be a king? I did. Probably
it's like you say,
not.
it depends
And it's like,
where you
so,
are and
yeah.
where you are in society and all that business. But
And if you were any good at it as well, so I think if you were, so maybe some sort of middle ranking lord with like half of a big estate in Scotland or something might, be quite nice. Just riding around and
yeah, but I'm saying
growing oats and whatever. I don't know.
imagine, not being one of those guys because you're not one of those guys now.
Yeah,
So
no. So
imagine
you're
being the equivalent
instead,
of who you are now, where you are in society, what you do, blah blah blah, where you are geographically. If you took all that and find the equivalent 500 years ago, you'd probably be better off now.
oh, 100%. Yeah, yeah. No, no. We've got yeah. I mean, it's just magic, isn't it? If you took someone from 500 years now and put them in our lives, they would just.
Freak out. I don't
But
know
I
if
mean, I
we
think
just would be
I
able to
think
comprehend it.
no, no. I think we probably have lost something at the same time. We've lost like community
Yeah.
um
But then some would
and
argue that there's
some
like
real
different
stuff.
there's community, it's just different forms of community.
Yeah, yeah. No, I think if you want community, you can go out and find it. I think that's probably hard.
Jane's just topping up my pink lemonade.
Oh, lovely. Hello,
Yeah.
Jane.
She was out having dinner with someone.
Nice.
The friend
Is
just arrived from America like today and we met her for dinner. I was like, you sure she went to meet tonight? Like she just got off the plane and just gonna out, got everything and everything. She was like, yeah, it seems up for it.
Wow, I should have had a
So
lot of talk about being in America.
yeah, well, she's actually
With
it's one of the reasons she was the mum of one of Bruno's friends at school, and we didn't like hang out with her, speak to her that much. Just when they'd be like, they were playing or something, or birthday parties. But she always said that she was over here doing a PhD, and but she had to go back. I don't know if it's because of the visa or because she was finishing her PhD. She had to go back to America, and her husband didn't really want to live here. He wanted to go back and live in America because he worked in construction and he knew you could back, like build their own house and have a pretty nice house and a pretty sort of comfortable life in America. So he was wanting to go back, but she always wanted to stay. And she was like, "No, I want to come back to Europe." But anyway, they went back to America because she finished her PhD. But Jane's been speaking to her and she's been saying, "No, she definitely wants to come back to Europe." And I
yeah, so
imagine a lot of it's to do with the president stuff. In fact, I just got a new colleague at work that started last week from America, and she just moved here with her sister in August last year. And I was like, "So, what brought you over here?" She was like, "Well, because of all the shit going down." Her sister works had set up a business doing like diversity
yeah,
training and training and advice and stuff, sort of service to businesses. Going in and judging their diversity and then giving training on it and stuff like that. And that was basically she lost all her clients when Trump made some change.
yeah, he basically banned DEI, didn't he? Yeah, crazy.
So her and her sister came over here, and
Good for
yeah,
them.
yeah. So
Isn't it amazing that we can just do that as well?
it's always a sign that the shit's about to go down, though, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I mean, can you imagine living like they've literally had people getting pulled out of their homes and like by masked men in cars with guns?
Yeah, I know. But
It's
but do you know what I mean about like, because I remember when Spain, I never met anyone from Venezuela before, and then in Spain, I met loads of Venezuelans, and it was because they were all leaving and they were talking about Chavez and stuff like that. But at that time,
okay.
the shit hadn't really hit the fan at that point. But these were the first. It was like young people
Yeah,
that got their degrees, and they're like, they've got a Spanish grandma or something, so they just
yeah,
got out of the country, and it was before the shit hit the fan. But just it was my first experience of meeting people who had just left their country because they could just tell either by the families that could tell or something, and just like get out, and then the shit really did hit the fan. So
yeah.
it's like this two people this week that Jay and I have met that are fleeing America, basically, or wanting to. One that fled and one that's planning on fleeing. But, well, fleeing's maybe a bit strong word, but setting up somewhere else because they can sense it's not going to be a good place for a while.
Yeah, and just how easy it would be to carry on being getting worse and worse.
Have you got what do you think is going to happen? I mean, how can you see it panning out?
Well, according to the many worlds theory of quantum mechanics, everything will happen, and it just
Depends on
depends
us.
on, yeah, which
Well, don't put you're seeing they putting all that responsibility on my shoulders again.
wouldn't it be crazy if that all that, believe in yourself and you've got to imagine what you want, like, and it will happen if that was
hmm
actually,
The
if that's
manifesting
manifesting, yeah, if that is what,
is going on
if
in all our
there's
lives.
truth to it. And that's kind of what Life of Chuck is. He certainly Act three, the first part, is him manifesting a whole world, isn't it? And then that world disappearing when he dies. And my guess is it's just meant to be his imagination. So it's not meant to be a real world, but it's feels real to the characters in it,
Yes,
or it feels real to us looking at the characters in it. And we can't tell the difference between, we can't tell whether they're conscious or not.
I thought the whole movie
But
was just an interpretation of his last memories before he died.
oh, that's interesting. That's interesting. See, yeah, no, right. But he wasn't in it, was he? I think it's like this idea that you have an idea, and even though you stop consciously thinking, you don't keep it in your immediate consciousness, your awake consciousness,
Yeah,
but somewhere it's still working away,
yeah.
and then quite often you'll just be doing something completely different, and you'll think of the answer to it or whatever, or you'll think. about it again,
Right,
and that
yeah.
idea was still alive in your subconscious somewhere at some
Uh-huh.
point.
Yeah.
And to me,
I'm
that's
still
what this,
processing in the
yeah.
background.
And I think that's in where there's a bit where his teacher. We haven't even talked about Walt Whitman. Do you know Walt Whitman? He's an American poet,
Oh, I thought you were talking about the
and
guy from, for some reason, I thought you were talking about Walter
what
White
was?
from Breaking Bad.
Oh, right.
This Walter White, Whitman White, Walter
Yeah,
Walt.
yeah, that's close, isn't it?
That
I wonder if he did
was
come
the
up with
first
any
person I thought you were
poetry.
talking about when you said the name. But no, Walt Whitman, a writer,
A poet from
poet.
the probably about the same time as the house was built, about the
Right.
1880s or something.
Yeah.
And he was quite a radical. His books got banned and stuff. He wrote a particular one called "Song to Myself," which is, and a few lines from this poem are in the film,
Do you
and
remember the
that's
lines?
"I contain multitudes."
That's right.
And that's kind of, and then you have the teacher say, "What's between my hands?" And he says, "My brain." And he says, well, yeah, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, what else? And she talks about his imagination and all his thoughts
Yeah. Yeah, that's right.
and all
Yes.
the people he's ever
How could I
known.
forget that? God, of course. That's like the essential, almost essential thread to everything.
Well, that kind of says it. And very particular thing I think she says is all the real people, and the imagined ones. So it feels to me like Act One, Act Three, beginning of the film is his imagined world
Uh-huh.
that has its own life because it carries on in his subconscious, but then it crumbles when he dies.
See, I saw it more of, it's funny because this conversation reminds me sometimes, or reminds me a lot of the conversations me and Steve used to have about stuff when we were at school and stuff. Because seeing how the two of us looked at this movie is how when me and Steve talked, it would be a lot because he would always see things from a sort of scientific point of view and try and work out how things worked.
How it all
And
fitted in
I would always say, we'd always joke because
logic.
I would always say like, I don't care how it works. I just like that it works. So that's not really a good example of what I'm saying, but this conversation reminded me of it because you're seeing at
It's
least like,
nice to
oh,
talk
it's
about Stevie though.
yeah, but this
He's in America now, isn't
yeah, he was
he?
in I got the name of the place now. He's moved about a
In
bit, isn't he?
Portland.
That's right. Is he still
He was from
there?
Texas. I think so, yeah. I
He moves
haven't
about so fast
spoken
and you
to
can't
him for
keep
a
up with him
bit.
something, or it
Should
feels
get
like
in
it anyway.
touch. Yeah.
What was I saying? So yeah, so this conversation, I feel like a lot of your interpretation became from a sort of like quantum physics, like physics kind of
Yeah.
side of things, and I interpret it more as sort of
Arty farty.
maybe more artistic, more just like it was more of metaphors and representations of memories, and the characters were metaphors for the memories as a way of representing rather than just what would be the word up like photographically representing a memory, representing in a way that more how it felt as opposed to what it actually happened, So the end of the world was just because it was like his world ending, and it was just like a sort of metaphor for that. Or maybe like you say,
But
how the brain was interpreting that.
but you don't think it was so it wasn't like his memories, his actual memories. It wasn't like him seeing his life flashing before him.
Certain bits were
Like which bits? There was the
the
first
stuff
part.
about his childhood, I would say. The first
But,
part, I don't think any of it was from maybe the teacher was his actual teacher
so
when he was a
the
kid, but that was just happened to be a face or a person he put into the story of the
So after
metaphor.
that scene in Act One, the last part of the film, in that scene where she's holding her hands, the teacher's holding her hands between his head,
Uh-huh.
he walks down the corridor afterwards, and
The teacher's there.
the teacher's there, and that's the
Yeah.
one from the Act Three.
Uh-huh. So it's like his
And
mind, the representation of his feeling of the world's ending, his mind just put this teacher's the main character of this sort of mini movie representation of his world's coming to an end. And it just happened to be his teacher there to put a character
yeah,
because that was
so
just someone that had
so
popped
it's
into
like
his
a
head.
fever dream of his as he's dying, rather than a
I don't think
because
it was
it's
no,
not
I
a real
don't think
memory that he's had.
I don't think it's even necessarily how he would have like him like you or me would have seen it. I don't think he's like saw this, movie going on with the teacher and the crumbling of the earth and stuff. I don't think he saw it like this. I think the movie's representing how he's feeling with this. And it's letting us know it's him because there's characters from his life in there. But it's just representing his feeling and the characters happen to be in there just to show us, connect that feeling to him.
The one thing I thought about, like, I wish my mind was that clear. Yeah, it kind of goes back to what we were talking about whether if you imagine an apple, what's the apple look like, whether you can
Hmm.
see it or not.
Hmm.
I can't see an apple. I can kind of see a grayish thing maybe, and like sometimes, but we're kind of being asked to believe, or even if that's just a cinematic representation of his th feelings,
Hmm.
it it's they're very clear feelings then, aren't they? They're very specific,
Yeah,
kind of a whole very big complicated narrative. And I would believe that might be happening in my subconscious, but I'm very clear that I'm not, I don't have that clarity of mind in my conscious.
yeah, exactly. And so you can't represent that feeling on a movie screen without creating some visuals and sound and stuff. And so the movie does it through a story, like a short snippet of a movie, sort of, or a separate story. But I think it's just to signal. It's almost like initially it's like his world's ending, and then it's like remembering certain, or in this case, one specific good moment, and then that led to him remembering why that moment happened was because when he was younger, he had these happy moments with dancing.
Oh, so you think is this part Act Two now? You think that was not real?
I felt it as like I definitely need to watch it again after because there's so many ways to interpret it, but I felt like it was a representation of the stages of his feelings before he died. So the initial sort of panic, and then they start to remember some good things, and then those good things led to remembering like everything that led up to the reason for the good things.
Kind of funny good things that he's remembering though. Like his teacher divorced from a doctor that he didn't. So the doctor is actually in at the dance at the school, so he knew her. But
But you're not talking about you're
I
not
don't.
talking about the wife. Is that not his wife at the end?
So sorry, Chuck's wife,
Yeah.
yeah, she's with him at the hospital bed, and she
And
is
she's the
presumed
dancer from
she's
school,
the older girl dancer, yeah, and his son's there. But no, sorry, I'm talking about
the dance teacher.
no, the teacher from Act Three's wife. So I'm still trying to get my head round
The
that
first bit.
Act Three. What I think you're trying to say is that Act Three somehow represents his happy memories or his feeling of dying, and it's just representative rather than meant to be some kind of magical universe that he's created in his head that's dying.
Yes.
Um,
But it's not the first part of the movie
yeah,
with the world falling apart. That's not a happy memory. That's just representing like his initial sort of thoughts of like just before he died, and then that led to the better thoughts. And then I think by the end, I felt like it was more happier. Maybe I need to watch it again. It seemed happier at the end than at the beginning. Do you know what I mean?
so I think a lot of people find it an uplifting film, and I think I've overthought it and
I found it an uplifting film, but I also found
feel
it sad. I also found it sad, and I also found it like it wasn't just, oh, it wasn't purely uplifting. That's what I'm saying. But that's the probably the feel I felt uplifted by the end of it.
I think you kind of meant to, but it's maybe like sometimes when you eat chili, it gets hotter 5 minutes later. And I think there might be an afterburn in the story.
What's the afterburn?
Well, that his early death was caused by sadness and a, helplessness to not follow your fate or something.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I did not get that at all. Like,
No,
but
it's
no,
amazing how,
because
yeah.
how does that work? How did that one thing lead to the other? I don't see how one thing could lead to the other.
Well, yeah, we've kind of covered it, or is it there was
It's like he
grief and
manifested it.
sadness through. Yes, so that's the whole point. If my feeling about the Act Three is certainly that's him manifesting this universe, that multitudes within him, real and imagined. It's what his teacher asked him to do: make your own universe between your ears, and it will grow bigger for as long as you're alive. And that's him manifesting his world, but that's his internal world, so that's kind of okay. But then I think that there's a bigger story about the grandpa manifesting these sad things that happened and not facing his fears, which was locked up in the room upstairs,
Yeah,
and not willing to explore alternatives other than getting your head down and being a good accountant and having a
and drinking
drink every
loads.
night.
Yeah, yeah,
And that
exactly.
there's some, and he passed that on to Chuck, which did him well for 39 years, but he didn't reach his full potential.
And you're saying that's what killed him? I mean,
I'm saying
there's
that's
people 90 years
I'm
old that
saying
feel like
that's one
that.
interpretation of it. Yes. No, I don't know, I don't know. I think the mind's a very powerful thing. I'm not sure if I believe in manifesting or not yet, but
But he loved his wife. He had the occasional dance.
I think he should
Maybe
have
not,
danced
mate.
more. I
Yeah,
think
he
as long
should
as
dance
we've
more. There's
done.
no doubt that was one of the messages,
But
but that was
we
that
don't,
listening
I mean, there's a
side.
whole missing bit of his life. We don't really see what happened between after his high school prom and him dying,
I
apart
think the
from this
point
10
is,
days earlier when he
I think the
danced. Why didn't he know why he danced? Like, if like, it's one thing stopping in a street and having a dance and enjoying it with a nice woman and a drummer and having a bit of fun, but why wouldn't you know? Why wouldn't he just say, I felt like dancing, and so I danced? Why did he not know why he stopped? So it's like that he's always had this barrier that is stopping him from dancing, and it's so much so that he's now had to explain why that he doesn't know why he stopped and danced.
And maybe he didn't stop and dance at all. It's just his brain started to think, I wish I had. And
Yeah, maybe
he's
that's yeah,
imagining what it would have been like if he had
wonderful.
done that. You know, he's like, oh man, do you know, I had a good life, but didn't do dancing for years and wonder what it'd be like if I just walked in the street and started
Just
dancing
stop
one
dancing.
time. And he's just imagining this scene, you know? Which then leads him to thinking about where he got his love from dancing, and then he's like, or not, maybe like you say, it's the other way around. What was the order of the acts then? So it was Act Three, then
Act
Act
three,
Two.
act two, act one.
So it's just backwards, right?
Yeah,
So maybe it
and
starts with
then
thinking
but
about his childhood memories of the dancing, which leads him to thinking, why didn't I dance more? And
a
remembering,
100%, and like I don't think you can necessarily do them in time order because I 100% think that the third act three is a made up universe. That's not a true universe, whether it's in his head, whether it's a representation of his previous life or whatever it is, that universe doesn't seem to fit in with the other two.
no,
And interestingly, actually, you say an act two might not be as well. That might just be his brain-addled mind having a
yeah.
nice dream.
The only Act Three comes across as like could be genuine, just genuine memories of what actually happened, sort of thing.
Hmm.
And the other two are just
But,
representations of his mind
well,
wandering.
so the narrator's in one as well, is he? Yeah. Is it is in the last one and the middle one?
Is he in all three?
He's definitely in the middle one where he dances. Uh,
It kind of makes you want to
yeah.
read the book, does it not?
Yeah, I would like to read the book. I actually looked for it in the library. Got a library
Maybe
card.
we should both read the book and do another episode talk about how it's if it's changed our perception of the movie, if it's better or worse than the movie,
Interesting. Because what in that that 90s interview with Stephen King, he actually talked about adaptations of his books and other people's books
Hmm.
and whether they stick to the plot of the book, how
The
closely. And he had
details,
two
yeah.
examples. One of his examples was Carrie, and he said that worked brilliantly, but he didn't stick to the book.
Mm.
And then his other example was The Shining, and he basically slagged off The Shining, saying
It's nothing like
is
the
that
book.
Kubrick or something? No, it it wasn't like the book, but it was terrible, which
Interesting.
surprised me. Yeah,
Well, I
he
mean, I
was
remember The Shining, and it was quite impactful. Sort of movie. There's loads of imagery that's like quite weird, and so you kind of remember it. But like, I remember thinking at the time, not really. I was young at the time, so but I didn't really get what it was all about.
Ed
In the
Rum.
same, it didn't leave me thinking about it the way Life of Chocolate did, put it that way, or even Carrie. It
That's
came,
proper horror, though, isn't it?
it came away with me just sort of not really thinking about it much at all afterwards.
Really?
Yeah.
No. Axe through the door,
Yeah,
little
the
girls,
imagery of like
red
the
rum,
freakiness
the
and
big
everything.
red
Yeah.
blood coming
No,
through
that's what I'm
the
saying. The freakiness, the freaky images, and the
yeah.
intensity of Jack Nicholson. But apart from that, I didn't come away thinking, what was that all about? And no, 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 and no, this
No,
is.
okay, no,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? I just didn't
Didn't
really
have
think about
much
it much after
history.
that.
But you didn't have to do a podcast about it, did you? So maybe
But I'm thinking maybe that's why he didn't like it. Maybe they missed the point of the novel. Maybe they just took elements of the novel, made a horror movie, and they
you're
missed the actual
spot on, you're
point.
spot on, because that's exactly what he then went on to say, that it doesn't
Ah,
like matter whether someone who's creating the film from a book sticks to the plot exactly. What matters whether they catch the
get it.
spirit of,
Yeah.
yeah, if they get it exactly. And then that's
Yeah.
a difficult thing because I think, art is for interpretation, isn't it? And it's once he's Stephen King said something else interesting, which was he doesn't, it feels like I can't remember how he said it now, but it was basically like when he was writing a book, he wanted to keep hold of it for as long as possible before he gave it away, because he knew that once he gave it away, it wouldn't be his anymore. And
Hmm.
it's like that idea that once you still have it, it's your interpretation, and that's the only real interpretation. But as soon
Hmm.
as you give it out to the rest of the world, then every Tom, Dick, and Harry have got a different interpretation, which is just as right as anyone else's, really. Just like like we've talked about Life of Chuck, it's probably not, whether the actual movie was what Stephen King meant and whether what we're talking about, some of the things will be right with him, some of the things will be, no, what you're talking about, that's nonsense, no.
But like I said,
But
the reviewer that was talking on YouTube about it said that it was one of the occasions because he said he read a lot. He was always interested in he read a lot, and he's always interested in seeing movies of books he'd read. And he said this is one of the few interpretations that are really pretty much exactly like the book. But
yeah,
again, that could just be exactly like his interpretation of the book.
yeah,
So who knows? So yeah, it could be good. And the thing is, I don't read that much, but I could handle a short story, I think.
yeah, it's good. So I think it's a book with four different short stories in it.
I play chess too much. It's
But
sort of
that's not
interesting.
too much. That's a great thing to do. That's like playing your own little stories over and over again, isn't it? Different characters.
Yeah, but I play it so much. Sometimes I feel like, is this really any different to just playing like Candy Crush all the time? Maybe we should be doing other things, more constructive, more creative, more, you know.
You should go out. You should find. Do you play it with other people, like real people?
What's that?
You play it with real people. I mean, or like not like socially rather than
Like
just
on an
on your
actual
app.
board?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I did look up a chess club a while ago. There's one in Dalry, apparently. But I never felt I was good enough. But I think I might be getting near good enough.
Do you
But
know the
considering
names
the
of
amount of
all the
considering the
openings
amount
and who's
I
on it?
play since I started in lockdown or around that time, I've been playing loads. I play every day pretty much a few times a day ever since. So I've played loads. I should be like brilliant by now. And then totally not. So it's like it's obviously not something I'm naturally
Have you read
talented
any
at.
books about tactics and stuff?
Yeah, I've read snippets and stuff, but it gets like the one thing I've never been able to really kind of have patience with, or even one I've never really properly put my mind to it, and two, it's just I've never it doesn't. So maybe some people notice it just naturally, but when they talk about chess, they always talk about the squares. You know, the F2 to D5 and
Yeah,
all this business. And I've played thousands of games of chess in the last few years, and I still couldn't tell you, I couldn't describe a chess move that I've just done with those letters and numbers. And a few times I've gone, right, try in this game, pay attention to them, or every now and again I'm like, pay attention to
so
people, and it just goes, just flies through my brain and just don't, can't,
that's really
I've total visualize it. Like, it's times when I'm wasted, I've been maybe played loads of chess, I don't realize it, and
that's the
then,
Queen's Gambit. Once you
yeah,
could
but
see them on the ceiling.
that happens to me, not the ceiling, but like when my eyes close, I'm visualizing the moves, or I find myself just thinking about the kind of like shape of the move of like an attack from a knight, and I'm seeing like like I'm seeing like the ways to dodge it, I maybe like I'll be sitting just listening to music, and I'd be like, and I don't even notice it, and suddenly I'm aware that I'm seeing all these shapes. It's not even like a move. It's just remember, it's just from doing anything too much, It's nothing to do with chess. It's like if I was painting walls all day, as much as I've been painting chess, I'd be lying there visualizing brushstrokes. It's just because I
Yeah,
do it so much. I
yeah.
don't think it's anything to do with chess. It's certainly not to do with being a genius at chess anyway. But I'm getting slightly better. I'm a solid sort of 950, which is good for me because I probably started at about 500.
Is this
But
like a rating you've got?
yeah,
Yeah.
the proper clubs, they do the ratings by competition. So you got official ratings.
Okay. Yeah.
But this chess app, it does like a sort of simulation of that. So it's not, proper chess people wouldn't say it was that accurate, but it's pretty accurate in the fact that it's fairly done. You should most of the time be playing someone pretty much the same level as you. So you only
Yeah.
get up
Okay.
points up if you beat someone the same level as you, and then the next game will usually be someone a wee bit up as well. And so it's like, do they keep going up or do you slide back down? And it's just like that all the time, but it's always
Yeah.
real people and it's people all over the world, and the people put their wee flag of where they are. So whether it's where they are or where they're from, but I've learned a lot about flags, and I honestly, I think you can actually see on the app like all the sort of nationalities you've played.
Yeah.
It
Brilliant.
must be pretty much at least one person from
Do you
everywhere in the
chat
world
with them as
practically.
well, or is it it's all
You
just
can do, but I
uh,
switched it off because people were just dicks. People were real dicks on it. People were like, "What are you gonna do now?" and stuff, or well, the worse and more offensive stuff. But just like or they would
hurry
do
up or
they would like put you in a position where you couldn't get out, and they just go and you just be like, "Dude," I mean, so I just switched it off. You can switch it off, so you can't message them, but they can't message you either. But then they can still
okay.
send you like a email through the system. It's not a message during the game, but they still say a message. I never saw this until till after a while. Switched off the messaging, and there's a couple there that's obviously somebody's just they've been so frustrated at the game, and they weren't,
Yeah.
and I had my messaging switched off that they had to just like send me a message after the game saying something like "fuck you, bro" or something like that, or I don't know, and it's just like, jeez, man, this is where messaging, this is the bad side of like instant messaging,
Yeah.
you know.
Well, what a shame as well that you think it was
Dude,
all
chess is
polite,
see when you get into playing chess a lot, it's fucking ruthless. It's
isn't
ruthless
it?
and if you I think people play it because they value this idea that like you're smart if you do well at it. So you kind of get a kick off like feeling smarter than the other person, and then when they do a move
Cool.
that outsmarts you, if it gets really it feels personal sometimes. Like I've been
Mm.
really pissed off. I get pissed off. I go like that sometimes, they like that to the screen after the game, or and then people do these little things like, they know they've lost, so they should really either resign or play the move that means they lose, but they'll either just let the clock run out. So they're not going to play. They know they've lost, but you can't get like the points from the game until the clock runs out. So you're just sitting there for like 5 minutes waiting for them to just eventually just the clock because they can't bring themselves to just resign.
Okay.
And you get other people that they're so pissed off. I mean, you only do this if you're pissed
It's-
off, pretty much. You get other people that, you've basically won, but they won't move so you can make the winning move. And they'll either let the clock run down or they'll just go connection going and then, oh, you won because the other person.
Disconnected.
disconnected. But so they've not even had the decency just to go resign. They've just gone, fuck this, just switched the computer off, just left you hanging, just waiting for the whatever time has to run out before you win it. And it's just like, dude, just resign. Like, and then when I first started, I did a few of them, when I was like,
Yeah,
fuck's sake. But now I'm pretty good. I'm just like, you learn to just go, okay, you've won. You need to your ego takes a little hit each time, because it's
for
like
sure.
they outsmarted you. It's like a sport, I suppose, but it's pretty ruthless because basically I play rapid, so it's like 10 minutes each. So you're basically from the start, and even in long playing chess, the whole point of chess is to kill the king and defeat the army sort of thing. And so it's pretty ruthless. It's all about getting pieces and getting to the king
Patriarchy.
and getting to the king
Yeah.
as soon as possible, and so they can't
It's the
escape. And
queen
so
that's most powerful though, really, isn't it?
yeah, but some people are really aggressive, some people build it slowly, some people are super defensive and then wait for that one little mistake you make and then pounce and you're like, oh, fuck's sake. But like it's all basically kind of pretty ruthless. It's all about killing you. It's not like, oh, let's have a little game of
It's not
chance and see what happens. It's like, no,
it's
I'm
not
gonna
about
fucking beat
making
you.
treaties and
No.
having as many people on the board as possible.
So I get a kick out of it. I find it exciting. You've got a
Yeah,
wee
yeah.
sort of 20-minute
That's
game and you can be I'm total into it. It's like, because it is amazing. Like
yeah,
every game starts off at the level I'm at the moment, every game pretty much starts off the same. The pieces, for both of you are moving similar pieces because you haven't got to the level where you're doing more complicated things.
right.
So that most games start off more or less the same. You're opening up the middle, you're bringing out the bishops and the knights into the middle of
Yeah.
the to control the most squares,
There's
and
a
that's the
name for
stand.
that opening, isn't there? They've got
Oh, there's
names
names
for
for
the different
every. Oh yeah,
openings.
there's names for every opening. Again, it's another thing that I don't
It's,
remember. People are like, oh, that's the Dutch defense or something. It's just like I don't remember any of the names. It even
yeah.
tells you as well. The thing is, it'd be easy to learn because you can see
Oh,
it
it
in.
tells you
Yeah,
when you do
you can
something.
you can see it'll tell you the move and it'll tell you if you do it. And you get little badges every now and again because oh you did this move and you're like, oh did I? Um
That's fun.
no it's really honestly I really recommend it. It's really good. I think I pretty much recommend it to everybody I talked about because
Did you not just
I
telling
love
me
it.
you were doing it too much?
Yeah, but I still recommend it to everyone. And think just
Yeah.
because I do it too much doesn't mean you have to, but it's like I definitely recommend it. I wouldn't like avoid it.
No, I
Just be
did
warned.
download
Just
it and I started for a bit and then I decided it was too difficult. I used to like it when I was much younger.
Well, the good thing about the app is it'll start you off at a certain number. I can't remember where it is, if it's about 800 or 600 or something. Wherever it starts you off, it's a bit higher than, well, it's a lot higher than like a beginner, and it's a bit higher than most people that don't play very much. So you do go down, you'll lose a few games at the beginning, but just let yourself drop down. Just like don't even pay attention too much. Just play loads of games in a 1 hour. Let yourself just drop down, and then you'll start building yourself up from the bottom. And that's how you sort of develop.
Interesting.
Don't
Yeah.
like, don't worry. What I mean is like if you could play the first 10 games and lose them all, don't be like, oh fuck this. Because as you're losing, you're starting to play easier players. So you will hit a point where you're like, okay, I won that one. Then you start to think, okay, how did I win that one? Then you do that again the next time, and then. So yes, I would stick with it. It's really good. And if you get like, I mean, you won't take long to get to my level. You could probably play it for like a month, and you'd be about the level it took me to
I,
like get after like 5 years.
I don't believe it. No.
Do you know things like about the terminology like like moves like fork and pinning and stuff like that? Do you know about those terms?
No. Is that like a pincer movement or something?
Yeah, well, I think a
Or
fork is like how a knight can
jump over
well
things
mo
and
most pieces can attack more than one piece at a time. Do you know?
yeah. Well,
Like a pawn can have two things on each side and can
yeah.
attack two things. A knight can attack like eight things at once.
Okay. Yeah.
And so what happens is if a knight moves into a position where it's attacking a queen and the king,
Yeah.
so it checks the king, but it's also attacking the queen.
Yeah.
I think that's what's a fork.
That would make sense.
because it's
And
but then you have no choice but to get the so
to
unless
to
the
move one, or
yeah,
yeah,
and
or get
the queen can't get the knight directly. So you can't save the queen and the king at the same time. So you have to then move the king, and so the knight takes the queen. And that when you do that, it's always like probably going to win this. And the pinning is like when you sandwich a piece between an attacking piece, your attacking piece, and the king. So if the king is here and the queen and their queen is here, and you
what's
put
that, F3, is it? No, F5.
don't know. So the king's
Helps.
here, that side of the board. The queen's there, and then
On
you
the
put a.
screen, what's the king doing on the screen?
He's at the
Oh,
top of the board,
I'm joking.
and the
Sorry.
queen's in the
Yeah.
middle,
Okay. Yeah.
and the rook, the castle. You put your castle here, so then it's attacking the
The
king, but
king.
via the
Okay.
queen.
The
That
queen's in the
means
way,
the queen can't move.
so you can take the queen.
So as long as your rook is covered, so if you've got your two
Yeah.
rooks, if you have a rook on their zone and you put it there, the queen will just take you.
Yeah.
But if you put a rook in the places where it's covered by another piece, so the queen can't move away.
No.
So he either moves another piece that can take the rook, and if he can't do that, that's
And
it.
that's called pinning the queen, is it?
Or pinning any piece, putting
Yeah.
any,
Well,
getting any, checking any piece between the king is
yeah. So they
pinning.
can't move away because otherwise they'll be in check.
Exactly. That's another good one. But they're basics. Like I learned them. They were the sort of things I picked up for the books when first started getting into it. I read a few wee bits like that. So I read a book and I'll flick through pages. I'll read one week, but go, well, that's good, and that's me stop reading the book for the next 3 months. I'll go, oh, that's I've got one wee
I'll try
nugget,
that one.
and then I don't, and then it starts working, so I just don't bother reading the book again. So anyway, man,
Yeah.
good to speak to you. Let's do this again sometime, and with less distance in between chats, so they don't have to go on for like 8 hours. But yeah, thanks, man.
Yeah. Thank you. Nice to chat and speak soon.
Just
Have a
remember,
good day tomorrow.
if you need 8 hours, you've still got to like lunchtime, and that's pretty good on a Sunday.
Yeah.
Nobody does anything before lunchtime on a Sunday anyway, so you might as well sleep.
Great to chat. See you soon,
Yeah,
mate.
take
Thanks
care.
for everything.
Have a good sleep.
Bye. Bye.
BlasterGas. 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 BlasterGas.
BlasterGas.